Yeah, it jumped right on. That was it.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever.
Woe be to the man that trusts in man. Jeremiah.
Abba Noah, Shabbat Shemaya, Wadash Hayah Shemha AHAYAH, Malawakka Taba'a, Ratazawanka Laya Asha, Balarataza Kuwa, Hayah Bashemaya, the thunder Noah, the Kham Kau Yawam, Wasalak Noah, Kawak Noah, Wasalak Noah, Kawak Noah, Walala,
What's that?
the Yahweh Noah, Manasaya one above,
What is that?
Hawashai Noah,
got it.
Manrai Kayalaka,
We good. I left it at church.
Malakwa Waha Allah, Ahataha Ara, La Iwalamya, Uman. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. 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 Amen.
I need you all to hit the like button as you come in. We will begin the lesson shortly.
I hear Jacob crying. Why here I can hear him crying. When you gonna rise? Call on the Lord. Mighty Jacob rise. Let's hear your roar. When you gonna rise, Jacob? When you coming? rising. Jacob, dry your eyes and call on the Lord. Mighty Jacob, rise to be restored. Troubles are brewing, Jacob. You need to stop what you're doing. Oh, Jacob. You know the promise is waiting. Oh, Jacob. You need to call on the Lord. So why Jacob, dry your eyes and call on the Lord.
Is the chat working? Good. It stopped. It's in
Mighty
these.
Jacob,
It's okay.
rise, and you will be restored. Troubles are brewing. No, Jacob, just stop what you're doing.
It's working now. That's it.
Because the promise is waiting. No, Jacob, so call on the
Just refresh.
Lord,
Refresh. It'll do it.
and He will
It just started for me.
voice.
Let me see.
Oh, Jacob, let us hear it. Oh no, let's hear that roar. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. Ooh. Jacob, come and call on the Lord.
Shalom, brothers and sisters. I'm Elder Ricard Shiar, along with Elder Lawyer, here with your weekly Sabbath lesson. As in the days of Noah. There's a lot going on in the earth right now, specifically here in Babylon, in America. And I don't know if a lot of people understand this, but right now, we're in the midst of what the Bible speaks of in Revelations 18 when it says, Babylon the Great, it's fallen, it's fallen. That's right, America is being dismantled on purpose before our eyes. And there's so many dynamics to this. There's the political dynamic that only the world can understand. But then there's the prophetic dynamic concerning the political landscape we're living under now. Christ spoke of these times and what to do. Okay? And I'm going to be going into that because it's eerily similar to exactly what happened before the flood, before the Most High began to prepare the righteous for total destruction on earth. Folks, we're in the days of Noah, the last days. And in order for these prophecies to come to pass, in which the Most High would eventually save his people out of this, a judgment must come to Babylon. And you and I, we all are living in the midst of it. So the question a lot of you might ask, living in these days, in this time, well, what am I to do? For me and my family understanding these times. Well, that's what the Sabbath lessons are for. So that we can prepare ourselves to go through Jacob's trouble. Okay? What I would like you all to do before we dive in is please hit the like button. It doesn't cost you anything to do so. This way the traffic can be driven, or the algorithm could drive the traffic here so that everyone out there can hear a word on this blessed Sabbath. And I really appreciate you all for helping me with that, and help others who may not have gotten the notice without you doing so. All right. As in the days of Noah is our lesson today. Elder Lawyer, if you may, can you start off with the Hebrew credo?
Yes, sir.
The Shema.
Shema Yasha'Allah AHAYAH 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 Akkad.
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 Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one.
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one God, and his name is AHAYAH. So, brothers and sisters, stick with us. We're going to go in 1 moment. 1 minute, we'll be going into the class. You got it. As the days of Noah. Hold tight. Cut the heat. Just cut it down to like 69. Okay, jumping right in. Elder Lawyer going to join us back in 1 moment. First of all, I would like to say Shabbat Shalom to all our brothers and sisters worldwide. Right now, the earth is in a total, quote unquote, political lockdown. Okay? In preparation, the powers that be are preparing for war throughout the earth, and have placed everyone in a posture for war, using this apparatus called, y'all know the name of it, a code. Okay? But there's many other things that are going on prophetically outside of what the mainstream media has actually propagated through this campaign, this emergency. There's a lot going on that I'm going to show you today. Now, in particular, Christ himself, through the Holy Spirit, has awakened the children of Israel throughout the four corners of the earth in preparation for this. So the same way the powers that be on earth dealing in this realm is preparing people for war through this COVID campaign. That's what everyone is posturing for. And believe it, the majority of people would probably panic if they understand what the posturing is actually for. So this is a way that they can actually ease people into that's right, a wartime posture without panic. That's what this is. And at the same time they're doing that, the Most High is doing something with his people. Okay? It's the awakening. It's the preparing for the changing of guard. And at the same time, we must protect our our families from the enemy, who will soon look to engage the children of Israel. Okay, so I did start the program with "I Hear Jacob Crying," because a lot of our people are not going to fall on the right side of this. It's just like the days of Noah. Okay, and I have a lot to prepare. I have a lot to show you all today. Look on your screen real quick. Let's go to your screen. All right. You see, here's the word I wanted to deal with today concerning the spirit that have led the earth into degradation and wait for a judgment. The spirit of nihilist. And here's a reason why the whole earth have failed to sin in preparation for a judgment. The nihilists have been put in position, political, judicial, as well as administrative positions over the earth, which was a plan by the Freemasons. And I'm going to show you how this affects us, and it meets right in with what Christ said we must protect our women, men. We must protect our men, women, and children from the spirit of when they would put nihilist over our earth, over our people in high political and social positions. Nihilist. What is a nihilist? A nihilist is a person who believes that life is meaningless, and rejects all religious and moral principles. They don't believe in God. They don't believe in the Bible. They believe all things are relative, and thereby they live by their own moral compass. Okay? Which is subjective. You can sleep with who you want. You can live how you want. You can, whatever activity, it's the Aleister Crowley, do as thou wilt mentality. No one can judge me mentality. That's the mindset of a nihilist. These are the most dangerous people on earth. Okay? Now, under the psychology field, you would identify this as what? A malignant narcissist. And this is, you have to realize, brothers and sisters, this spirit has been created in the earth. It's been promoted in the earth. A malignant narcissist. Okay, where guess what? Their whole objective in the earth is self-satisfaction. And it doesn't matter how many people are harmed in the wake of them getting that satisfaction. That's the spirit that reared its head in the last days before the Most High flooded the earth. Because if you can get people with compromised morality, these are Satan's tools. These are his bots, his agents, his skeleton key to break and destroy all that's right. If he can put them in key positions. Some people started pushing back at me when I was talking, unjust, through a little sarcasm in some of my Wednesday broadcasts, speaking of the demonuts and saying stuff like that, feminists, and people started getting offended when I started pushing at that spirit. That's right. Feminism, women's rights, matriarchy over patriarchy, All of this does what? It promotes the spirit of nihilism, disorder. And only those who have been infected, I'm not going to say affected, infected by that spirit is offended. These are the people who don't want a moral line in the earth. These are the people that don't want standards set in protection of what? Our future generations. A nihilist. A person who believes that life is meaningless and rejects all religious and principles. That's why I had this up earlier. The Black Lives Matter movement is a Marxist movement. At the very end, Satan would infiltrate and use our people as the face in the earth. Listen, we would be the face of all that's wrong on purpose. And they would use our face and say this is a black movement to align all races of the earth against us and be justified for it. And be justified. Why? During the civil rights movement, that was a religious movement, folks, on every side. Be it Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, these were all religious leaders. But the powers that be could not come against us back then during the civil rights movement like they would have liked to. Why? Because we held the moral high ground. Okay? We were known for people who just wanted to be just like any other people, protected from assaults and being hung to serve our God in peace, to uphold the morality we had one amongst another. And because we were moral, not to say that we were all perfect, but as a people, we were religious people. And through that, the Most High allowed some level of protection spiritually for our people. So Satan couldn't do what he wanted to do in the 50s, the 60s, and all that. Because why? We held the moral high ground. How dare you come and after bringing us over here, putting us in slavery, having us deemed in your constitution 3/5 of a man. How dare you look to engage us to stop us from freely worshiping our God like you're able to. And we did it nonviolently. And we had the moral high ground. So they had to switch it up. They said, well, listen, we can't engage them because our PR is being totally destroyed over the earth when it comes to the humanitarian view of our country. Engaging people, innocent people, burning them in churches while they're in churches, worshiping the God, and we claim to have a country built on the values of the same God. We have to find a new way to engage these people. You know how? We must show the whole earth they're immoral. Give us the moral high ground. And now all the earth would agree with destroying them altogether. So we went from being conservative and righteous with a moral code to becoming liberal and didn't know the meaning of it. We thought liberal was justice against injustice. When liberal is do as thou will. Without what? Without anyone judging you for it. Liberal is evil. Liberal is evil. When we became liberal, that's right. The family, the black family, was totally decimated. It was a strategic political agenda to break the moral fibers of Judah in America. to totally destroy family, to take our woman from us, to take the man, that strong man, from the woman. Not that we were all perfect, but we were together. And thereby, through that, have the state raise our children. Anarchy, confusion, mental illness, all of this come into play because we allow them to infiltrate and turn the tables so that they can be the moral standard opposed to who we were in the 60s. Listen to what we're showing you here. They became the moral standard now. They sat back while we killed our own babies, knowing that it was murder. They sat back while we allow our children to have diseases and all that injected into their veins. They didn't do it. They set up the nihilists and those who would just sell their own people out for under the guise of capitalism, on the guise of, well, it's just my job. They allowed us to self-destruct, to harm each other. And instead of it being strong black men at the forefront of our movement, they put up nihilists, black lesbians, straight out. Not just a black woman, not even the example of a strong black woman. They put up abused lesbians and gays as our leaders. These are your new social leaders over all of the cities where our cities are totally dilapidated. No longer is there a black face, a strong religious face behind a movement led by a black man. I want you to read this. This was the plan of Albert Pike, 33-degree Mason. In his letters, Morals and Dogma, one thing that stood out. When you get an opportunity, read Morals and Dogma. It's the plan of the 33-degree Masons to roll out Lucifer, who they worship, at the very end before Christ returns, as the true God the earth has been worshiping. And by doing so, folks, listen to this, folks, they would have to break the strength. We, as the children of Israel, even in ignorance, we were the children of Israel. But they would have to break the belief system that was solely within the black slaves who had no one else. And because we had no one else, that's right, we had to depend on our God to get us through all of this. And Satan knew that if he didn't break that connection between us and our God that got us through slavery, that there's no way he could succeed this mission in setting up himself as the God on earth. He had to break the black man. He had to make the black man believe he no longer exists and have us become atheists and all that. And through that hedge that was over us in connection with us and our God moved away. There's no longer a hedge over us anymore. And now the armies are aligned right now in place to destroy the children of God. And if Christ don't save us through this, folks, none of us will be left. Now, I wanted to start it off with a short monologue so that we can actually set the stage for what this is. Elder Lawyer, I need you to read the quote. Now, this was a quote made in the late 1800s. Let's read it, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. It says, "We shall unleash the nihilist and the atheists.
We shall unleash the nihilists, those who believe nothing. And the what?
And the atheists.
And the atheists. Now, you can usually find these people amongst what? Children who were abused. This is why under satanic initiations and all that, the abuse of children is a part of their fraternities, because these are the children they can use against the righteous. Moloch sacrifices, in which they would abuse children so that children can grow up with inordinate affection and hatred against God. Why would they hate God? Because they would say, well, how could there be a God who allowed the abuse that happened to me? So these people would grow with a hatred against the Almighty, not realizing it wasn't God who did that. It was these satanic priests sacrificing children to Moloch to sever out mental ill children to be used later against the righteous. See? This was their plan. How can you get a whole society, or a large segment, or 10% of the society become nihilists and atheists? With family, with a strong mother and father in position to protect them. You can't. You have to destroy the family unit first to get access to the children. And then that's when the abuse starts on a social level. This was the plan of the Freemasons in the late 1800s, folks. The Scottish Rite and the York Rite Freemasons. Read.
We shall unleash the nihilists and the atheists, and we shall provoke a great social cataclysm.
We shall provoke a what?
A great social cataclysm.
A great social cataclysm. Through us morally compromising the people, eventually the people will go against each other. It will be the government in control of the triggers on either side to have society fight one another. Read.
We shall provoke a great social cataclysm, which in all its horrors will show clearly to all nations the effect of absolute atheism.
Absolute atheism, where the whole earth questions whether or not God exists. Are we not living in that time? Read.
The origins of savagery and of most bloody turmoil.
And of much bloody turmoil. They'll allow chaos to reign. They'll give chaos free reign. And you know they've accomplished this anytime people are tearing the whole country down and tearing the cities down, tearing down the businesses that patronizes them, that helps them. Only to have the media promote the anarchy, the destruction, the killing, the tearing down of businesses. Why would they allow this? And this was different this year than any other time since we have protested in America. Why did the media, who usually immediately call us looters and all these things, why did they immediately get behind the black people in this anarchy? Because they know how it looks on the outside of us. This is how the other nations were able to get the moral high ground, by letting all the other nations look and say, look at these animals. That's how they were looking at us. Whether we like how that feels and and whether we care how they think or not, it doesn't matter. This was their plan. And you can't tell me it was about George Floyd or another girl getting killed. Don't tell me it's about that crap, because no soon as the election was over, we didn't hear nothing of George Floyd again. It was a trigger to posture all nations against us, being led by some nut job radicals. And now our people, innocent people who had nothing to do with that, are going to have to pay the cost. Listen to what we're going to talk about today in the days of Noah. You don't know what we've aligned ourselves with, walking around with Black Lives Matters hats. You are against God if you stand with Black Lives Matter. It's not about Trump. It's not about any. You have to look at each individual you align yourself with. You have to understand this, man. These people that are over Black Lives Matter, these other organizations, have did more harm to black people than Donald Trump could ever imagine. Do your research. Now, why am I highlighting them in particular? Because the nihilists or the Freemasons, they had a plan on either side. They would need the radical and the ill-informed out of each race. Not just the blacks, but the whites too. The nut job liberal white people who make their money off of impoverished, underprivileged black people. That means if there's no poverty, there's no problem in black neighborhoods, these white people lose all of their future generations' wealth that came through quote unquote philanthropy. So these white nut job liberals need impoverished neighborhoods because they're over all the diversity organizations in our neighborhoods. So it's not just black people. They would also have a segment of the nut jobs they could trigger amongst the whites. Okay? So I'm giving you the full perspective here. And this plan was hatched by the Freemasons to bring forth what we are about to go through, folks. Military has already aligned themselves, not just in America, all around the earth. And part of their military strategic scenarios is how to navigate in the cities around what they've just witnessed during the election cycle. Black people running around with masks, breaking into all types of stuff. They weren't, and even white people joined in so that they, even if when we stopped, white people came in to make it even worse, and people wondered why. It wasn't just to blame black people. Okay? It was to fulfill this anarchy at its height, so that now when the military come in, they'll realize, okay, we must defend ourselves from these nut jobs that were on television for 3-4 months, ripping up their own neighborhoods and all the businesses within their communities. We must align ourselves against them. Read on. Right here.
Yes, sir. It says, we shall unleash the nihilist and the atheist, and we will provoke, or we shall provoke, a great social cataclysm, which in all its horror will show clearly to all nations the effect of absolute atheism, the origins of savagery.
Savagery like animals.
And most bloody turmoil.
And most bloody turmoil. We done went from Martin Luther King, Coretta Scott, King. We talking about distinguished gentlemen, distinguished ladies with a moral compass within our communities, which were the standard. We done went from that to some nut job freaks leading protests for black people. And no one see anything wrong with that. No order, no end in sight for what we're really looking to achieve on the end of it, and no one even questioned that. Like, listen, I don't want to hear about a black man getting killed and all that. Don't. I'm a black man, and I don't want these people representing who we are. Okay, they can't align themselves with our plight. So don't try to use a black man when it's convenient for you to get some subsidies by the white social media and liberals, and then ignore us when it's not politically advantageous. So I don't want to hear that crap. I'm looking at who they're trying to align us with as our leaders. A lot of us should have looked at these people and say, these people are sketchy. Why are they trying to get us out on the street like this? Why are they all radical with no end in sight, with no true mission to why at the end of this, what are we going to achieve as a people at the end of this? There was no true plan. But was there? There was no plan amongst us. You just had political people looking like us paid to cause anarchy. Mm-hmm. But to some other people, the plan worked excellently. Folks, to some other people, it worked to perfection. Let's read it.
Yes, sir. Then everywhere the people will be forced to defend themselves against the world's minority.
Hold on. Where are you at?
I'll start again at then.
Then everywhere.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Just a little bit magnified.
Magnify it up.
Yes,
Hold
sir.
on.
Perfect.
Hold on. All right. Let me make sure they can see it. That's better?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let me move this here so they can. All right. Go ahead, Elder Lawyer. Then everywhere.
Then everywhere the people will be forced to defend themselves against the world minority of the world revolutionaries and will exterminate those destroyers of civilization and multitudes disillusioned with Christianity, whose spirits will be from that moment without direction and leadership.
Without direction and leadership. So they would need to switch the social churches that once produced for its community. So what do? They brought in the Jesuits to hire black prosperity preachers to destroy the community churches. Why? Because it was the community churches, that's right, during a time of the civil rights movement under Martin Luther King, that had the whole earth watching at once during that March on Washington in the 60s. It wasn't no mega churches. It was community churches being led from the grassroots, opposing injustices all around the world. They say, no, we can't have that. So at the very end, we must send in our Jesuits and our theologians along with our apologists to change the direction of churches, because these churches are too strong within the community. We must set up, we take the pimps off the corners and put them in the churches, destroy the churches, and then have the mega churches lead all the financially good and educated of their people from amongst their communities. Right? Albert Pike. Read it.
It says, and the multitudes disillusioned with Christianity, whose spirits will be from that moment without direction and leadership.
Without direction and leadership. Now, mind you, before that, it says that the people will be forced to defend themselves against the world minority of the world. Who are the minorities? So when they see nut jobs tearing things up, you have other races of people doing what? Taking up arms, preparing themselves against that segment of the population to defend themselves against them. This was their plan. On one side, you have people being promoted on the news as crazies, radicals, nut jobs like the Black Lives Matter folks. Then they show black people breaking in stuff, running over each other like animals. They showing this so that the other side can do what? Say, listen, when food is taken, when there's no water, when the water systems are shut down, we're going to need to take up arms to protect our families against them. When you get a chance, I need you all to go past a gun range outside of your city. Okay? And what you see, sometimes I go there just to check things out. And guess what? You see parents bringing their children for what? For gun practice. And I'm talking about teenagers. I seen a father with teenage sons. One was 10, one was like 13, and another one was like 17. Even the young little girls in middle school are at the target places. Practicing with practice rounds. I'm seeing this with my own eyes. And I'm like, you know what? This is exactly what Albert Pike's plan was, the Freemasons. Because anyone in their right mind in this current climate would understand it's time to defend themselves. Okay? There's no protections under the Constitution no more, folks. We're in civil war right now. This is soft civil war. And the other nations have aligned themselves militarily against our communities based on this nut job stuff they did during this election. Come on.
Then everywhere, people will be forced to defend themselves against the world minority of the world revolutionaries and will exterminate those destroyers of civilization and the multitudes disillusioned with Christianity, whose spirits will be from that moment without direction and leadership.
So as you can see, their aim was to cause what? Unbelief. Why? Because the belief in God and Christ is what? Is the hedge and weapon. We dealing with spiritual warfare here. 33-degree Masons are straight Luciferians, folks. And they understand they can only oppose us or engage us so much if we're morally sound, if we're righteous, if God is on our side. So they had to break that barrier first, which is the spiritual barrier, which is really the strongest barrier. See? So when they broke through that, where there was no more belief in do as thou will and have sex with whoever you will, everyone have an app on their phone to commit adultery, to sin, to do whatever. Once they broke that, hey, when you don't have your God to protect you, guess what? Lucifer and his agents can have full reign against you and your children. So it was about breaking down the spiritual barrier first. Come on.
It says, disillusioned with Christianity, whose spirits will be from that moment without direction and leadership and anxious for an ideal, but without knowledge where to send its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, brought finally out into public view.
Hold that for one moment. So those who used to believe in the Bible, those who used to believe in Christ, will now witness a degradation of the earth and begin to blame God for it. And say, well, my upbringing being Christian or believing in God, well, that must not be the way. I need to look into alternative religious beliefs. That was the plan. That was the plan. To take us off that rock, which was once Christ. Now you have people, I see our own people who their family were 5, 6 generation Christians. Right off the boat, they were Christians. And now you see these same people who are saying, well, listen, I'm into New Age religion. I'm a Buddhist. I'm this. I'm that. That was the plan. Buddhist is ancient Japhetic Babylonian, is a Babylonian religion. Islam, Babylonian religion. New Age, Babylonian religion. That means if you're not standing on Christ, anything outside of that is Babylonian. That was the plan. Satan knew that his greatest spiritual opposers at the end would be those who believe in Christ. And he needed them off the battlefield. Are you sure? I'm breaking it down now. Let's end this, and I'm going into the Bible. Let's go, other lawyer.
Yes, sir. It says, the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer brought finally out into public view.
Into public view. It's to a point now where we don't have to, cobble around the edges anymore. Chew around the edges concerning our true belief. A matter of fact, let's roll out a series called Lucifer and see how much opposition we get publicly. Now, I know when I was growing up, they had to do it soft. They have to have stuff like Bewitched, where the father was fighting against the witch growing up. I don't know if I'm telling my age. My mother and father used to have this on TV, where the father, who was a general in the army or something, was fighting against the witch and say, you can't be using that stuff because you're going to, you're gonna get in the way of my Christian Judeo beliefs. I need you to keep that stuff. I love you, but you have to keep that stuff undercover. Don't use your witchcraft. When I was coming up, it was soft, right? Where you had Bewitched or Sabrina, her daughter, and stuff like that. But now they just came straight out with it. You couldn't have had, when I was growing up, there's no way you could have had a series called Lucifer and got away with it. Not at the same time they were promoting Little House on the Prairie, The Waltons, all Christian-based family programs that were on for many seasons. Because why? There was still some traditional, wholesome values and belief in God left that we could both relate to, whether you were black or white. There's no way they could have rolled out a series called Lucifer that could have stayed on past 3 episodes, let alone 2-3 seasons. So they said, okay, let me throw out the series Lucifer and see how it takes. And people started chiming in, talking about him. He's cute. You had people online talking about, yeah, man, I can see myself getting with the devil.
As you speak.
Yeah.
Someone sent this to me yesterday. This is a commercial.
You kidding me?
For Match.com. I'm not sure if you'll be able to show it here, but I don't know if you want to just show the cell phone or what.
Go ahead. What is it?
It's basically a commercial of a woman, the woman symbolizing the year 2020, meeting Satan and them coming together and having a relationship.
Let's see if I can get it on here.
Type in Satan commercial match.
Hold on. Satan commercial.
Commercial. Yep. Right there at the top.
Right here?
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me?
Hi. 2020.
Please. Call me 2020.
Fair use.
So where are you from?
Who?
Me too.
You kidding me? Fair use. Yo. He said, I just don't want this year to end. What, the year that they've had everyone locked up over some bogus code?
Right.
Oh, man. Are you kidding me? Go ahead, Elder
It
Lloyd.
goes into exactly what Albert Pike was stating and what we were just reading about them now bringing Lucifer, bringing Satan out to the forefront for everybody to embrace. And that's really what this whole thing, this whole 2020 thing, this COVID thing, that's what it's all been about. But you're about to say something. You're right.
Man.
Just the point that it says here, will receive the true light, and it says through a pure doctrine of Lucifer. Part of the doctrine of Satan is that mask ritual and all that.
Yeah.
So
And that
telling you,
exactly.
you know?
Right.
Because that day of inviting the dead into the earth is Halloween, when everyone is wearing a mask. Well, suppose you are wearing a mask the whole year. You are a part of the yearly initiation into accepting Lucifer. That's what these masks are for.
That's right.
Let's read the end.
Yes, sir. It says
A
here,
manifestation.
a manifestation which will result from a generational or a general reactionary movement which will follow the destruction of Christianity.
So they're looking to destroy Christianity. Why? They can't use Christianity anymore because we're teaching the truth concerning Christ and its true mission. So when Satan can no longer use it, okay, now that the people have awakened, there's no use for it because guess what? The real Luciferians knew that they were worshiping him the whole time under the guise or cloud of Christianity. See? But when they can no longer use it, using Romans and white people and all that, and the ideology that all people are the same regardless and all that, once we were able to tear down that lie, they had no more use for Christianity. That's why they say it now, you can't gather. Why? Because you're not gathering for me. That's what's going on. That's what he's saying. Wear a mask. Get initiated into the Luciferian. That's right. Ball. I'm inviting you into my palace, my world. This is what the Freemasons have been preparing the world for. See? All the mask and all that. That's esoteric, folks. Usually it's once a year where people wear masks. And that's a Celtic satanic celebration of Samhain in which what? The dead comes into the earth. And the wizards and the sorcerers align themselves spiritually with the dead. That's the religion of Samhain. Now suppose he can get the whole earth to do it all at once for a year. It's an introduction into Luciferianism. The earth will never be the same, and it's not going back to the way it was. As in the days of Noah is where we are. Read it at the very end.
Yes, sir. A manifestation which will result from a general reactionary moment, which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time.
Both conquered and exterminated at the same time.
Did you hear what it said? It said general reactionary thing. So something general that happens to the public, it will start the ball
Right.
rolling downhill.
Right.
But it had to be a general reaction
Right.
first.
Right.
And this COVID was the trigger. That was the reaction. Here we are. As in the days of Noah. How can we make it through this? Elder Lawyer, let's get Matthew 24.
Yes, sir. Before we get that, I have one scripture.
Yeah, let's go.
In relation to what the elder was speaking about, in relation to or speaking of liberalism, okay, those who call themselves liberals. What does the Bible say about those who falsely use that label liberal? Because we know, according to the Bible, that the true person who would bring forth liberty is Christ, where it says that he would proclaim liberty to the captives. But what about those who falsely use that label? This is the book of Isaiah chapter 32, verse number 5, where it says, The vile person shall no more be called liberal, nor the curl, the evil, said to be bountiful. So the Bible says that those vile people who falsely use that term liberal to describe themselves and their beliefs and their social, political identity, it says that those people are vile. What makes them vile? Look at the things they promote in society. So the Bible says that those vile people will no longer be called liberals. For the vile person will speak villainly. For a long time, they've hid themselves behind the idea of freedom and equality for certain groups of people. But now they're coming out straight, as you were mentioning, and they're making it known that they're about the death of black people, the murder of black babies. Okay, they're about this system that's being brought forward, which is introducing Luciferianism into the earth. They're behind all the wicked things that have taken place in this particular society. So it goes on to say the vile person will speak villainly. They will make themselves known through their speech, and his heart will work iniquity to practice hypocrisy and to utter error against the Lord. They're going to start coming out and making it known that they are against the Most High. To make empty the soul of the hungry, and he will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. The instruments also of the curl are evil. He deviseth wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words.
With lying words.
So they make you believe that they're for the poor, when in reality they are against the poor. But they have convinced you that they're for the poor through using what? Lying words. Hypocrisy. Reading on, it says, even when the needy speaketh right, but the liberal, meaning the true liberals, those who come in the spirit of Christ, deviseth liberal things, and by liberal things shall he stand. Last verse, verse 9. Rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters, and give ear unto my speech.
And the Most High saying, listen, you daughters, you girls, you women. Why he says listen? Because the liberals are going to trick you. Because they know women more so are moved through emotions and or fear. So he's saying, women, you hear these words. Don't listen to these white liberals talking about abortion and being free and feminist and all that. Because why? Feminism isn't going to affect them like that, because they know they'll never topple the white man. They injected that as a social weapon to be used against black men standing up in their true positions to oppose their men. That's why I'd say, sisters, hey, you have to realize this was their perfect weapon, because it ain't no blame game for them. The way they looking at it is, hey, at the end of it is, they're going to have men to protect them. They don't care about what happened in the relationship and all that. All they care is that you don't have no one to protect you. That's all they care about. They don't care about how you got here. They don't care about whether or not a guy didn't treat you right or that, and men ain't nothing. They're not dealing with none of that. What they're dealing with at the end of the day is knocking down the doors without having a man to oppose them. That's their end game. Here we are. Here we are. I got something to show about these 4 people who came down with Bell palsy from these vaccine trials. 4 people, their face drooped down like that. So obviously they're giving people mini strokes. I'm going to show that later. But hey, people can take it if they want. That's on them. And I already told my family, you take any of that stuff, do not come near me. Because I'm not getting nothing injected in my veins. Where if I run into the viral strain out here, I have a 99.9% chance of getting over it like a cold. It'll be ridiculous for me to shoot something in my veins with all this other stuff going on, when I'd rather run into the disease itself and get over it like a cold. Let's go. Matthew 24. As in the days of Noah.
St. Matthew chapter 24, verse number 1.
Yeah.
And YASHAYA went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. And YASHAYA said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming?
What shall be the sign of thine coming?
And of the end of the world.
And of the end of the world. Read.
Verse 4. And YASHAYA answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you.
Come on.
For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many.
Christians. The first deception is going to come through Christians. So Christ is telling us, when it comes to the universal religion of Christianity, do not follow them. Do not listen to them concerning my coming. They will deceive you. And this is where the Jesuits and also the apologists come in with the ideology to deceive us with a false Christian doctrine. Christ warned us about them. How can the Romans, the same people who destroyed and killed and destroyed our homeland and enslave us, teach freedom through Christ? Does that make any sense? It's not in their interest to teach the freedom Christ taught to his people. So common sense is going to say, don't listen to the Romans. These are the people who has always conspired against you when it comes to ideology, religion, and all that. The Greek philosophers would always philosophize to align their philosophies against us. Don't listen to mainstream Christian theology. Christ warned us of that. This is why even in the academy we have to unteach Christians, true people who believe in Christ. We have to unteach them the lies we received in Christian church. Changing the Sabbath from Sabbath to Sunday. Telling people the law is done away with, knowing that if we're lawless, that leads our children into captivity. See? The rapture, claiming that somebody's going to be moved out while some boogeyman comes on the scene. All of that, Christ warned us of that devil who would teach falsehoods concerning his coming. Christians. And I'm speaking of the Christian hierarchy, the theologian schools, the apologetics. Okay, they're enemies of God. Have always been. And Christ warned us. Many shall come in my name, and they're going to use my name. Now, the Bible and Christ's words are true. But the intent and ideology behind those who are using my name, that in of itself will be deadly, a deadly doctrine against my people. Read.
Verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars.
Come on.
See that ye be not troubled.
He says, be not troubled. And this is what we're telling brothers and sisters. You were born in a war. Right now, there's a proxy semi-war going on all around the earth, mainly in America right now. We're in a civil war, and they're not telling us. Folks, like I said before, if you think Joe Biden won this election and he got more votes than Obama, and don't forget, he didn't even have to run. You have another thing coming. The liberal side is saying, well, there's nothing to see here. There's nothing to see here. Trump is saying that he's just a sore loser. And people are listening to that. But on the other side, they have proof. Folks, I got it, and I'm going to show you at the end of this. They showed, and they usually use our people as patsies, running right into what I showed you earlier, how they're going to demonize us and show that they have the moral high ground. They got two black women led by a black guy on film. On film. making a false alarm so that people can leave the polls during the count. And then they pull some tables in and pull out, that's right, suitcases, rolled them out, and they got it on camera, of black people rolling them out, adding all these ballots for Joe Biden. And they caught them on camera by themselves. I'm going to show it to y'all, folks. Now, they've been had the film, but they allow it to fester. Why? Because they want to show people everywhere that just like Black Lives Matter called all the anarchy, they're going to claim that black people was behind, that's right, treasonous actions in rigging the elections. Now, you know there's some white liberal behind these guys.
That's right.
But you'll never see them being caught red-handed. They pulled out, that's right. They can always find someone amongst our people who you know, who's willing to do something for a few bucks. And that's, folks, I'm going to show y'all today. And a matter of fact, if they did that and it's shown, it's on film, what is Trump's next move? Okay, war. If he want to stay in office, he's going to be able to. And then they're going to demonize us as the reason to how this whole thing began going crazy. And both sides are looking to engage us in the middle. We were used. Matter of fact, should I show it right now? Let me show that right now. Let me show that right now, if we may. Look at your screen.
Right now, the same person who cleared the place out under the pretense that we're going to stop counting is the person who put the table there at 8:22 in the morning. Yeah, I saw 4 suitcases come out from underneath the table.
Look.
Yeah, upper right hand, you see the gentleman in the red. So he just pulled one out. So what are these ballots doing there, separate from all the other ballots? And why are they only counting them whenever the place is cleared out with no witnesses? Is the question. So these machines.
And folks, I'm only showing enough that I can show without being banned, but I'm showing the rest in the academy during the news tomorrow. Folks, there's a civil war fermenting. And our people are walking around the cities like everything is normal, not realizing that, that we're between the crosshairs. Every other race in the earth now believe that we're behind all that's wrong in the earth. And the reason why people are walking around not being free with masks and all that is because of us. The reason why now the reason why the country is in turmoil during the election is because of us. Black Lives Matter. And now they got us on film diluting the pool with faulty ballots. Now, tomorrow, when I go into the academy, they even got their names out there. They got their names and they got their faces. And they showing way more than this. And now, guess what's happening? That's right. Courts are being now prepared for these people. Not just for them, those who actually called them into play. That's right. They taking cell phone records, and this thing is going all the way up at the top. So that this earth, America hasn't been fragmented like this since the time of Abraham Lincoln. And it's on purpose. They are totally dismantling America, folks. And we're going to be the radical face behind it. Folks. And I'm not for either side. But in key states where he was winning, Trump was winning, boom. An emergency happens, everyone leaves, and then by the time they come back the next morning, Trump is losing by a certain number of ballots. Okay? And then they show a spike when those ballots actually came in. At the time when they told people to leave because of an emergency, and these black people came out who was left there, orchestrated, started pulling suitcases out with ballots, and they did this in all the key states. That swung the election, folks. They're splitting the country on purpose so that now Trump can enact some executive order, folks. That will mean military. So we talking about military coming in the same time to administer vaccines and also coming in to do what? To defend the president of the United States against a treasonous organization coming against them. And now they can prove it on camera using black people. This, I'm going to tell you folks, this was the plan that Albert Pike rolled out in the late 1800s. He said this would happen. Now, we're going to show you crisis side, where it says nation against nation. This year now, all nations have been aligned against black people. We're the face of all that's wrong. We begin to back witches, anarchists, sexual deviants, and all that. And if you are a Democrat, that's what you are aligned with. And other nations are saying, well, listen, we're about family. That's what another nation is saying. Your way of living is against our future existence. Y'all don't believe in keeping families together. We believe in family. Y'all done lump yourself with all these freak organizations and all these other things, and we're looking to protect our traditional values against you. Man, they switched this whole thing from how we were portrayed in the civil rights movement, didn't they? They switched the whole thing up. Now, we're what's wrong. We're the cancer of the earth. Right now, the way media has portrayed us. Now, we know that the majority of us doesn't represent that, but it doesn't matter. It's how they are misrepresenting us before the world that's making these other nations paranoid and have aligned themselves against the children of Jacob. Read. Come on, let's go.
St. Matthew chapter 24, verse number 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars.
Come on.
See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass.
All these things must come to pass. Folks, I don't know if I can say some of what I'm... you know what? I need to keep this channel, so I'm sorry. There's certain things I can't say. I'm definitely going to bring it out in the academy tomorrow. Unfortunately, brothers and sisters, in order for me to bring out what I'm bringing, I have to be guarded with what exactly I say and what I show. But I can say this. I can say this. If you're in a state that's talking about locking down everything for 3 to 4 weeks or into perpetuity, right? With no end in sight. If you're in either of those states that say, okay, y'all stay laid down for three weeks, just for safe measures, try to find a neighboring state to stay with your family and others. Find a neighboring state outside of that state. Okay? That's all I can say on that. More in the academy tomorrow, but go ahead. Go on.
St. Matthew chapter 24, verse number 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars.
Come on.
See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass.
All these things must come to pass.
But the end is not yet.
But the end is not yet. Come on.
Verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation.
And that's what we're under right now. That's what we're dealing with right now, folks. Nation against nation. Nation against nation. Now, on a political landscape, when you come to America, what did Donald Trump run on? He ran on not just building the wall. Y'all remember that one. But he also ran on, we're going to bring more jobs back to America because China isn't negotiating in good faith. And either we tax them or we'll take the jobs back. No America, no China. Remember that? You remember that, right? So he started setting up, that's right, business embargoes against China. Now, through that, now, I don't know if I can say some of this stuff. Put it this way. On the liberal side, there's enemies within the political arena that Donald Trump and the others are going against, and they wanted to go against so that he can stay in office. So, the Chinese are helping with the total dismantling of America, believing that they're next. Believing that if America falls, by default, they'll become the next superpower of the earth. So they're helping one side against the other. And the Bible says a nation divided against itself cannot stand. So it's a proxy war. So that instead of a republic working on both sides to keep the power insulated within this country, one side will be against the other, and through that it topples the whole thing. And this is where we're living. This is what's going on. And by so, here's the reason why last month Donald Trump began to call troops back into the American borders in preparation for war. Now we know that there's some people working on top of either side for the ultimate outcome. I'm just letting you know on the political side, when you listen to the news, how to wade through either side on the level they're giving it to us. But it's an implosion of America altogether. When really the only way America could survive is the Democrat and Republicans work to balance each other. But if you get one side that totally try to annihilate the other side, there's no more democracy. It's over. See? And this is where we are. At one time, they were playing off each other to balance each other, and they kept the balance of power. But now they're totally going against one another. And guess what? Have you ever seen a bird fly with only one wing? So the powers that be is toppling America on purpose by having one side looking to totally annihilate the other and using us as the face for one side. We're the face for one side. See? Let's read it. Come on.
Yes, sir. Verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places.
A lack of food. Because when this all goes down, brothers and sisters, guess what? That's right. They are going to cut the reservoir and the water systems in these cities. You're living in these homes. We living in these homes. We don't have our personal wells, folks. All of our water is coming from a system, a fluoridated system. To do what? To give nourishment or water throughout that city. We were meant to go to brooks and rivers and lakes and all that for our waters. We weren't meant to be dependent on a system for water. Folks, there in these cities, they're going to use COVID and claim COVID is behind all this. That the water plants is shut down for a while. All of that, folks, is going to be Flint, Michigan on steroids throughout every great city. They've already prepared us through Flint, showing us on television the heroes coming in to give water. And who were they? Military. Military. See? And I've been saying a long time, make sure we have enough water in our homes to get us to at least 2-3 months so that you're not out amidst the chaos, so that you're nourished enough to get the direction to get out of harm's way. Okay? When a watchman see it coming, he prepared the people. Ezekiel 33. So you'll be able to get in front of this if you are prepared for it, and you're not in that long line waiting for waters and rations. You're on the other side of things, working your way out of this, fully strong, fully nourished, with a plan. Okay? Come on.
Verse number 8. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you.
Then they shall deliver you up to be afflicted and kill you. Like I said, I told people the other day, a lot of what's in this stuff that they're trying to administer, there's different batches of everything, depending on their plans for you. If you are an obedient servant, yes, you may not get the viral shot that will render you useless. You may get the one where your disease won't kick in until 10, 15 years later. So they can use your strength to continue to build for them. But some people are going to get the kill shot. Other people, you understand, it's going to be it's not going to be a one-stop shop for what they're shooting in people like it's never been. They'll just use a disease as the vehicle to get to your veins, to get into your bloodstream. They'll just tell you it's for one thing, but they have batches for each thing depending on how they're looking to control or how they can utilize a society and what use they would have for those within a society. That's what these batches are all about. Biowarfare. They're going to be giving people up to be killed. And you can only do that if you can create what? Paranoia and distrust amongst the citizens. That's what's going on right now. Because through this COVID thing, they've turned everyone into some type of social mercenary. Okay? To champion the cause for safety. Read.
Verse number 9. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake.
And these are the believers now. Because it's the believers who can see right through it. We're not looking at it from a sick perspective or a cold perspective or a mass perspective. We're seeing the overall prophecy according to Christ. We know their true agenda. So at the end of the day, after they go after and roll over and get everything in place, they're going to align the whole earth to come after the righteous. Same thing they did in 70 AD, where they would give the disciples and others a choice. Either you bow to Satan and eat this swine and take this or take that and give your total obedience to Caesar, or die. And you know what the righteous chose? Death. And you know why? Because guess what? We understand death is a curse. We weren't meant to die. Our spirits is immortal. There was life before this, and there'll be life after this. We understand that. And the real powers that be, that the gods and Satan that rules these so-called gods on earth, they fear death. The reason why they fear death, because their ending has been written. Where they will actually, that's right, they will feel the real death, the second death. We are not to fear death. We were with the Father from the beginning, and we live on beyond this. And don't never let anyone scare you or convince you to turn your back on God with the threat of death. Don't ever do that. We were here. We were in the spirit world with Christ before the Most High called us in this earth for our course, our turn and purpose. And we live on beyond this. And this is why Albert Pike and others were looking to stomp out the belief in Christ, because with the belief of Christ, you don't fear death. Christ resurrected. He's not dead. He's on the right hand of the Father. He showed that there's victory over death. And this is why they needed to get that spirit out of here, because the only way you can control a population is with the fear of death. So they know there's a certain number within our society who they know that this COVID and all this stuff has no effect on. You cannot program and move us through social fear. You have something, Mother Lawyer?
Yes, sir. Just on that point, you were mentioning those 7 sons, or those who were forced to try to consume swine's flesh, and if they decided not to, would be met with death.
Yeah.
This is what one of the sons said when he refused to eat the swine's flesh. It says here, this is 2 Maccabees 7:32. For we suffer because of our sins. And though the living Lord be angry with us a little while for our chastening and correction, yet shall he be at one again with his servants. But thou, O godless man, and of all other most wicked, be not lifted up without a cause, nor puffed up with uncertain hopes, lifting up thy hand against the servants of God. For thou hast not yet escaped the judgment of the Almighty God, who seeth all things. For our brethren who have now suffered a short pain are dead under God's covenant of everlasting life. But thou, through the judgment of God, shall receive just punishment for thy pride. So as you were mentioning, even those who die for their beliefs, the righteous, those who get persecuted for Christ's name's sake, you must understand that you're dying under God's covenant of everlasting life, which involves what? The resurrection from the grave. So there's power even in death.
Exactly. And Satan will always use the fear of death to put you under subjection. This is how they control societies. I had a guy this morning come up to me, and I'm sitting there with my mask outside, my clear mask, and this guy comes up to me. I look like he was off his meds, and he looking at me talking about, I don't see your mask. And I'm like, you're not social distancing, dude. Step off. They're turning everyone into social mercenaries. I'm outside minding my business. And this guy comes up out of his car looking to pick up a sandwich or something, looking at me, and all these people in line, he hones in on me. I'm like, he has the right one. I'm going to let him know he's not living in the colonial days. As soon as he was on his way up, I said, step off. Huh? And then he says, I'm going to tell. I'm like, he goes into the store, and the people see me all the time. They see me with the same mask, and I don't have an explanation for no one. Okay? You're not going to smother me out in public. Okay? No, I'm not going for it. And they all realize it. And I walk in like, I didn't listen, give me a sandwich. And then he leaves and hear him walk under his breath after I told him to step off. This white middle-aged guy looked like he's, it looks like, look like he left his Prozac home or something. He's sitting there looking at me talking about, yeah. And then he leaves after getting his sandwich saying, I'm just trying to make sure we're safe. I'm like, yeah, step off. And the people in line, they looking around and he's trying to, I'm like, man, listen, you're not pulling, you just see, you know what I mean? You should have seen the look on, like a Negro just told me to step off. You would think I just stole his wallet the way he was looking. Step off. Okay? Finish reading.
St. Matthew chapter 24, verse number 9. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you.
Read.
And ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake.
And you shall be hated of all nations for Christ's sake. Why? Because you're not buying into the madness. Because you're speaking the truth and you're saying, well, okay, if this is how Babylon is imploded, if this is what leads to freedom, bring it on. I didn't know they were going to use a code to do it, but hey, we got next. Oh yeah, if you can top this off with a shot of coffee. You know what I mean? That'll be nice, my brother. I really appreciate it, brother. You're the man. Yeah, I'm sitting there with my mask, elder lawyer. I had Yarack on the phone. Yarack was telling Yarack to get a cord so I can make sure we broadcast. And I'm glad it didn't cut off. It's working fine today because we got the equipment. And I was speaking to Yarack on the phone saying, yeah, I'm going to need this particular cord so that I can broadcast right. And I see this guy getting into my space. You know what I mean? I mean, this dude red as a tomato looking at me outside with breath, smoke coming out of his breath. Looking, I'm like, dude, 6 feet, man. 6 feet. He says, mask. You don't have a mask. Step off. Okay? Step off. Step off. Put the fear of God in this man. Then he went and got his sandwich. He came off mumbling in his voice. I'm like, these. And I told Yarack, hold on, I got a problem here. Step off, dude. If you fear that I got COVID, how can you come close enough to tell me to put on my mask? Right. Get out of here. But I'm gonna tell you, if that person is like this now, imagine what happens down the line. Imagine when they really ramping things up. These are the people that's going to be problems for us, folks. Where are you, other lawyer?
St. Matthew chapter 24, verse 10.
Yeah.
And then shall many be offended and shall betray one another.
See that? Man, they use this COVID on every level because people are being offended by other people, not because you're actually hurting or doing something to people. Mm-hmm. Strictly because they're forced to walk around like it's Halloween every day and feel that, that you're the wrong one because you want to breathe God's air normally. They're not getting offended because you are offending them. Guess what? You are offended because you're not falling for the con like they are. They're getting offended for that because you're not under the con. I don't care if you whisper. I don't care what you listen. I'm breathing God's air, man. You're not gonna. Listen. Hey, you got Fauci that came straight out the other week and say, the mask really can't stop anyone from getting COVID. So what are we doing here? They said the numbers are really going up. The deaths are going up. Oh, you mean to tell me we did all this when the numbers are worse than it was when we didn't know we had to wear masks? Mm-hmm. So if it's even worse now than it was when we were walking around normal and y'all say things were spiking, and we did all this throughout the year and it's still worse, then what good did the mask do? I'm like, you're not engaging me in this stuff. And now I see these people, especially these people that are paranoid out on these psych meds. These are the people you're gonna have to keep your eyes on, these psych med people. I'm like, you'd have think this guy was getting a paycheck. I'm like, dude, get out of my space. And I'm looking around. I'm like, okay, I see what it is. I'm the only black guy around here. Step off. Let's read.
Verse number 11. And many false prophets shall rise and deceive many.
Many false prophets shall arise and deceive many. False prophets is pertaining to what? Well, guess what, folks? That's not subjective. That's not someone looking at this and saying, well, this person's a false prophet because of this. No. The context is what the disciples asked Christ. When shall the end of the world be and the signs of thine coming? That's the context of it. And if someone give you another ideology outside of what Christ is saying, they are the false prophet. Okay? They are the false prophets. If someone tell you that you're going to be raptured out of this before some antichrist come with a vaccine and something to shoot in people, the mark of the beast, be like, okay, I'm waiting for one guy. How is it they rolling out the mark of the beast system now without one guy being anointed antichrist? That was a lie. That was deception by the Jesuits. To have us look into everything else outside of what Christ was saying concerning his coming. So when it says a false prophet, it's anyone that would speak or bring forth an ideology outside of how Christ said he would return. That's how you identify the false prophets. It's just simple, isn't it? That's not subjective, where if someone feel a certain type of way about you, or they don't like you or whatever, they call you a false prophet. That's garbage. Christ is letting you know the false prophet. It's those that will give you an alternative understanding of his return through an ideology outside of what he told the disciples. This is how you identify a false prophet. Okay, let's go.
Verse 12. And because iniquity shall abound.
Because iniquity shall abound, nihilist, anarchists, the time that Albert Pike would do at the very end to promote nihilists and perverts and put them in high political positions as our leaders. Christ is talking about the time we're living in right now, when iniquity shall abound. When someone can actually put an app on their phone and say, okay, what stranger can I have sex with today? That's when sin is at its height. When there's no moral compass left in the earth, no conscience towards what's right or wrong. The time we're living in now is what Christ is speaking of here. Iniquity at its height. Where you have black people marching down the street with a bunch of unrepentant freaks against your God for social injustice. Against social injustice. But like, listen, I'm not here. I don't care about what the cops doing and all that old crap. I'm not into that. I'm into you in my neighborhood predatorizing my children. Mm-hmm. So how can I lock arms with you against the police when we go home, you're going to be trying to initiate my child in some type of perversion type of ideology or mindset? You're the enemy, not the police.
That's right.
This woman that's over Black Lives Matter just came out and just said that she's a practicing witch. Mm-hmm. No, the police isn't the enemy. You're the enemy. So how can I lock my arms with you and walk down the street talking about social injustice when you haven't been brought to justice in our community, within our community? Thieves, robbers, killers, that are running rapid all amongst us, but yet we're going on the outside and we're going to lock arms against injustice on the outside of us? Madness. Madness, folks. Read on.
St. Matthew chapter 24, verse 13. But he that shall endure unto the end.
But ye that endure in the Spirit of Christ, the Spirit of the Most High, who stand on righteousness regardless of what society's going, regardless with the fact that society is going to hell. We still going to stand on righteousness. We will be the moral compass then. Okay? And I'm drawing a line, even with my children and everything. I'm like, listen, you go the wrong way, I'm not going to be able to save you. No, man, I'm straight up. Even Paul says, thou husband, can you save thy wife? Thy wife, can you save thy husband? No. Each person must search out their own soul salvation with fear and trembling and stand on Christ. It doesn't matter what society says. It doesn't matter what your family says. You must stand on the rock. I could take you to the well, but you want me to take you to the well and dip the cup in and put it up to your mouth, hold your hair back. Nah. I can take you to the well. Okay. And then put it in your mouth and then say, can you swallow it, please? Swallow it or you'll die. Swallow. You must swallow. You want me to give you each direction towards nourishment. No. I've done enough. And if you can't stand on Christ, for your future spiritual preservation, I'm not to blame for it. I can take you to the well. See? Finish reading.
Verse 14. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations.
This gospel, the good news, not that crap the Catholic Church been doing over the earth, using their ministry at some level of espionage. To get in under espionage, using Christ and his ministry as to get access to poor people to kill and destroy us.
That's right.
It's not talking about what the Catholics did and what the Christians did. They'll go set up a well, and then they have a foundation where you got a bunch of freaks raping the children in the village, or shooting them with some disease in the village. But I gave them the well. They got clean water now. No, they'd have been better off walking 3 miles to get water like they used to than you coming and building a well there, and now you're sitting there raping their children.
Mm-hmm.
Read that last piece again.
St. Matthew 24, verse 14. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations.
All races. And the gospel you hear is the gospel. We are teaching nothing different than what Christ was teaching and the disciples were teaching during their time. Baptism, laying on of hands. The gospel to all nations, to the Jews and also to the Gentiles.
That's right.
Okay. The kingdom. All of what Christ gave to the disciples is what we're teaching. Against paganism. This is what Christ was and the disciple was standing for. Upholding his God, AHAYAH, as the God of all gods. Destroying the concept and the demonology that comes with the belief in the Trinity. This is what Christ was teaching. This is what the disciples were teaching. What you're hearing here had to be taught throughout the four corners of the earth. And guess what? This thing is being taught beyond me now. It started with us, but we got brothers and sisters teaching in other languages I don't know in remote areas in other countries. Okay? And this gospel of the kingdom shall be taught throughout the whole earth. Read.
And then shall the end come.
And then shall the end come. Now there's more. Listen.
Verse 15. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet.
The abomination of desolation is when what? Christ says, ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies. Right? Read.
When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place.
Stand in the holy place. Folks. Now, keep in mind, folks, that place initially starts in that position, that contrite spirit you were when you first received the Almighty. You must learn the first love you had. And being gracious and having gratitude towards the God who did awaken you through Christ. You must stand in that spirit. And that spirit leads us to the holy place. Doubting nothing. You have to have that full assurity and confidence you had when you knew you and God, you and the Most High was in a good place together. Go back to when you didn't fear what'll happen to you right now. I don't care what happens because I know me and God is all right. I know that I'm doing right and I'm doing the best I can on this earth for him. If you're in that place, you will be led to the holy place. He will gather the elect together and we'll operate in one mind, being directed through one spirit. But you must find that place, that's right, that you were when you knew the Most High was with you. Read.
Whoso readeth, let him understand.
Whoso readeth, let him understand. Because, folks, the place you are with the Most High, the place you are with the Most High when it comes to his holy place with you, will lead us to that place. We will be amongst the Most High. We will be in that place, protected in the wilderness. That's right. We will be protected. It tells us in the book of Joel, we'll be in that place, and in the book of Ezekiel that have towns without walls, the holy place. But it starts with where we are now with him. And that's why Christ says, don't fear. Folks, the angel of the presence is with us. They'll guide us. Okay? They'll guide us. But I'm going to tell you, it's a daily walk. Making sure you're in the right place today and leading to the right place tomorrow with the Most High. You stay in that place. And be directed. And guess what? Don't be paranoid. Don't be scared. Because that's how Satan is moving the whole society right now through fear and this COVID thing. No, you don't listen to them. You listen to the Almighty. You must connect. Read.
Verse 16. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains.
Flee into the mountains. Mountainous terrain. Read.
Verse 17. Let him which is in the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house.
So be like pilgrims in that day. When it's time to move, move. When it's time to move, move. If you hear something is going down and some military is coming into your area, whatever the case is, guess what? You don't have time to act like you're packing for a 2-week trip to the Bahamas. Okay, have your go bag ready and say, well, anything I need in this bag will at least suffice. Be like pilgrims in that day. If you know it's time to roll, have that one bag that you can grab that you know you'll be okay with. Make that bag. It's no time to be sitting back and, get the kids' clothes. I can't fit this no more. Oh, man, I wonder where can I fit into this. Ain't no time for none of that.
That's right.
Get your one bag together that you'll need long term, knowing that you'll never come back to your home. Prepare that. And then if you don't prepare that, guess what? Have enough faith to walk away with what's on your back. Listen to what we're saying here. Read.
Verse number 18. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes.
Exactly. You out and you hearing some shooting going on over there where you know where you live at, and you heard what's going on. Listen, I can't. This is all I have. This is all I have. But guess what? I knew this time would come. I prepared an alternative scenario so that I can have some stuff someplace else. So that if I can't go back to where I live, I have an alternative place where I have some stuff at. Be it a storage space or something. I go there with my keys, get my stuff out of storage. Hey, I got it from there. They made it where I couldn't go back to my house, but I rented a small storage facility in the town over. Boom, I got some stuff there. I'm ready to roll. See, you're thinking one step ahead, where you're not letting the circumstance dictate your scenarios. You're thinking ahead, and that plan goes all the way towards the wilderness. Okay? Read on.
Verse number 19. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days.
It says, woe to them that have child, and give suck in those days. Folks, I see brothers and sisters having children now. Oh my goodness. It's almost, you have to almost threaten the hospitals and doctors who are looking to shoot some crap in their veins before their first cry. Like they're waiting in the wings to poison your child from birth. And that's if they're blessed enough to see life. That's why Christ says, woe to them that give suck in that day, because you have a decision on, you can now make a decision on whether or not you even want to have the baby. So the baby have to escape your decision to allow the baby to live. And then you have to escape the hospitals and doctors who are looking to poison the baby from birth. And then you have to protect the child from, if you have to go to work like most have to do in this life, right? You have to find out what's going on with the daycare center and what rules that you have being under that, and how to protect your child under that. And then when you put them in school, you have to protect your child from the progressive letters people initiative in schools, poisoning their brains. And then when they grow up, you got to protect them from the next door neighbor's child who grew up with no protection. And then you have to on and on and on and on. You have to navigate the righteous through this evil world. And Christ says, and woe to them that give suck in that day. Woe to them that have children now. Because the whole time the mother's worried about how she's going to protect this child from the system, from the doctors, from the nurses, from the vaccine makers. Was he not talking about our time? One brother went and told the doctor straight out, like, listen, y'all coming up in here every couple of minutes asking me about this stuff. My child is fine. I don't care what shift it is. Write it on a paper, post it for the next shift that's coming in. Do not come asking me to shoot another thing in my child. It's over. They're like, okay, well, if it's over, can you sign this? I'm not signing nothing. I mean, come on. Are you kidding me? Leave us alone. It's an all-out assault against our children. And it's not enough now that we figured that out. They're saying, well, okay, since you don't want us to deal with your children, we're going to poison all of you. Roll up your sleeves. Read.
Verse number 20. But pray that your flight be not in the winter.
When it says pray that your flight be not in the winter, because why? When it says pray, it says it's more so Christ is letting us know, like, listen, it's best that your flight be not in the winter because it's harder to travel during the cold season. Especially when, because this was a dual prophecy. He was talking about 70 AD first. And then he was talking about us throughout the whole wilderness in the earth being under these other governments ruling over the children of Israel. So back then, don't forget, you didn't have cars, you didn't have planes. So in order for us to actually, make it into a safe area, we had to go over mountains where it was cold and freezing and all that. Okay, back then in before 70 AD, if it was wintertime, it was bitter cold to get out of Jerusalem into different parts of the areas outside of it. So he says, pray that pray that you don't have to leave in the wintertime, because why? You may not make it. You may not make it in cold terrain. Read.
Verse number 20. But pray that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day.
Neither on the Sabbath day, because we weren't supposed to, according to the law, travel and do our own will on the Sabbath. So he says, so if you're going to plan, make sure it's not during the winter time and make sure it's not on the Sabbath. If you have anything to say about when you're making moves, here are the 2 times you must avoid. See? See? Read.
Verse number 21.
Yeah.
For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor ever shall be.
Great tribulation, the final tribulation. We're living in it. Read.
22. And except those days should be shortened.
And except Christ shortened the days that Satan and his ministers have to rule on earth. Read.
There should no flesh be saved.
Guess what, folks? If Christ didn't cut Satan's time short, none of us would be saved through this. That means Satan have a plan to kill all of humanity. It doesn't matter your race. It doesn't matter your race, because in order for him to put in a plan to kill the children of Jacob, there's no way he could put in a plan that can only kill just a segment of the world's population. When we are as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered. So in order for him to kill off us, Satan had to make a plan that would kill everyone. So it isn't just a thing about saving Israel in particular, because we're everywhere. Satan knows it. So he says, you know what? I don't care about those Israelites, and neither do I care of Esau. I just need Esau to be paranoid and triggered enough to help me destroy his brother and get off earth and get off this plane before Christ comes to judge. So Satan don't care about Esau either. He's using Esau. See? He's using one segment of the population against another. He don't care. Satan is looking to kill black people and white people and all in between. So if Christ didn't cut that time short, no people would be left. And this is why I'm putting out there, especially with all races of people. Don't judge strictly off of the outward appearance, folks. Don't be easily triggered and be utilized as a social mercenary against other brothers and sisters in the earth. They're not your enemy. Just like the guy I told today to step off. He's not my enemy. I just had to put him in his place, let him know, listen, that stuff doesn't work here. Okay. Do you see me here shucking corn and picking cotton? I'm a free man. Okay, get out of here. But I had to let them know straight up. Listen, this is not colonial days. But I knew that guy wasn't my enemy, but I had to shock him. Thank you. I appreciate it. I had to shock him. In my mind, I said, you know what? He need to remember this day. And I wanted to make sure, and I know he's thinking about it right now. He's probably called a few radio stations or something. Yeah, I know he's probably ramped up about this Negro he's seen standing in line, defying the state. You know, doing normal stuff like breathing. By doing normal stuff like, you know, the stuff we used to do before they announced this. We used to be able to go outside and actually breathe. And I'm not going to become an enemy of the state because I want to breathe fresh air. So what we have to do with this ministry is wake people up and let people know, listen, you're not my enemy. You're not the mass police. Because if they use you to do this, they're going to use you to do other things. And understand that hold up. At the end of the day, they're looking to kill the person with the mask and the person who's enforcing us wearing the mask.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Finish reading.
Yes, sir. Verse number 23. Then if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not.
Now, if someone say that they know where Christ is, they telling you, I know where Christ, here's a tabernacle. Here where he gonna be at. Mm-hmm. We building a tabernacle. Read that again.
Then if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is Christ.
We know where Christ gonna be at. Yeah, y'all want to come? Read.
Or there.
Believe
it not.
Believe it not. Believe it not. Because Christ is within his body. And it's going to be through the Spirit of the Most High that he will lead us all into one place. And the Most High will be a fire round about us. At that time, we don't have to say Christ is here or Christ is there. This is someone moving you outside of your safe zone. Because right now, if no one is assaulting you, no one is coming against you, don't let someone else put their fears on you. Don't let them put their fears on you, folks. And I know people like, well, Elder, he was talking about fleeing. He's talking different now. Nah, I already explained that a couple of weeks ago. Mm-hmm. You're not going to be able to use that.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Okay. You're not going to be able to use that. Don't try to demonize me. If you believe I was teaching a certain type of way and you got the influence to teach what you know is right, just teach that. You don't have to mention me. But don't try to use your fear, to move others into danger. Mm-hmm. And you're definitely not going to use me like others used to use me to move others into danger. No, I'm showing people how to prepare where they are.
That's right. And
build themselves spiritually. So when it's time to move, we're moving in the same spirit without fear.
Mm-hmm. And what we've noticed through experience and time and watching this thing unfold, usually the people who get people worked up into a frenzy to move off in fear, they're never there to help guide the people that they worked up into a frenzy.
Exactly.
They work you up and then they disappear.
Exactly. But then you look down and your pockets, mm-hmm. rabbit ears.
Right. Not before they rob you.
Oh yeah. it's rabbit ears. You walking, it look like look like Bugs Bunny from the waist down.
Right.
You walking straight rabbit ears, and you know, like, what happened? Hey, you listen to someone to say, listen, them elders, they don't know what they talking about, man. They said one thing. Seems like they changing, doesn't it? I'm going to tell you right now, man, it ain't about them. It's about the Most High. And you can't follow man. Woe be the man that trusts in man. That don't even understand what that scripture's saying. When it says, woe be the man that trusts in man, that's trusting in another ideology and another belief outside of the belief that was given to us through Moses, through Christ. And if you're following Islam, you're following man. You're following Muhammad. If you're following Buddhists, or if you're following, it's not talking about you trusting or putting your hope in or help with a servant of God. It's not talking about that.
Quick example.
Yeah, give me an example, because they say, oh, you can't trust in man. Okay, well, guess what? Yes, I can't. What if I don't trust you then?
That's right.
Aren't you a man? They start looking around. Yeah, I'm not going to trust in man. You. I ain't expect somebody to. I am a man. Go ahead. We just got there, Lord.
Yes, sir. Here's an example. 1 Corinthians 11, verse 1. Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Christ.
Exactly. And that's what Paul said. Be ye followers of me, as I'm also am Christ. If you follow me to a degree in which you ask, the Spirit must have been working if you ask us to put you in the water. You was trusting us to guide you. Oh, because we don't follow you. No, we're following the Spirit that led you to come to us for the water.
Right.
And that will never change. So watch cats out there by themselves talking about, hey, trying to shame you. Using shame tactics by saying, because they're disobedient and rogue alone to themselves. But they'll try to push that mistrust and that lone spirit on you. Be like, nah. Well, you're a nut. Yeah, you don't. Hey, I don't trust no man. Okay, die alone.
Listen, everybody follows somebody. Everybody everybody trusts somebody. So listen, all of that is foolishness, man.
I'm just putting it out there because you have to give people the proper context, because the scripture taught in the wrong context can actually stumble people up. Because it's really to have you do what? Look at someone you trusted with levels of skepticism.
Right.
It's to sow a seed of doubt in you. That's what they're there for. They don't care. They don't care who you follow. They just don't want you following someone they don't like.
That's right.
Right? So that's all it is. If I don't like this person, you shouldn't like him either. Pugilant children. Let's go.
Verse number 23.
Yeah.
Then if any man shall say unto you, lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not.
If someone claimed they're building a tabernacle somewhere, know that the tabernacle they building is for that guy we shown earlier today, who had an app, connecting with that young lady. That's what a tabernacle is for. A matter of fact, let me show you. If someone say they building a tabernacle, let me show you exactly who they building it for here. Let me give you all the hookup on that. What was it again, other lawyer?
What's that?
Or YouTube.
Oh, my man.
Oh, yeah. When someone say they building a tabernacle and you need to join them,
Daniel Saint Germain or something like that.
What is it?
Daniel Saint Germain or something like that.
No, I'm talking about the app with the girls with Lucifer today.
Oh,
Yeah, give me that.
What's it called? Commercial match Satan, commercial Satan match or something like that.
Okay, go ahead. I'm gonna show you. Someone said they got a tabernacle. Yeah, they got a tabernacle to share with you. I'm gonna show you who they're building a tabernacle for. It's a young lady texting Satan. Here go the tabernacle, right here.
Satan?
Hi. 2020.
Please. Call me 2020. So where are you from?
Hell.
Me too.
Fair use. Someone said they're building a tabernacle. Need you to run to the wilderness with them. There they go right there. Yeah, got a tabernacle. There it is. Popcorn. He won't go in church, huh? They're going to one building the tabernacle right there.
I just don't want this year to end.
He just don't want this year to end. He said he do not. Now, who would say that they don't want the COVID year to end? Lucifer has been rolled out as the true God of this world. Folks,
Can process about 3,000.
just putting that out there for you. If someone tell you that they're building a tabernacle, understanding who they're texting. Straight out. Yeah.
The diapers.
Oh yeah. Where that's at? I need that one. Did you Skype that to me?
It was on Chinese or something. What do you think? That's trusting in man right there.
Okay, do me a favor. Skype me that. Okay. Matter of fact, text it to me. Yeah. Matter of fact, we'll bring that up at the end of the lesson. But hold on. Oh, this is the diaper thing, right? Oh yeah, I have it. 1 second. 1 second, folks. You good?
Yes, sir.
All right, great. Oh yeah.
Hey, think about it. What are they also saying? You on these dating sites, you might run into down with Satan.
Yeah.
Elk's my favorite.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had elk. It's super nutritious. So you're out stalking an elk.
I'm going to show you how crazy this thing has become, brothers and sisters. Real quick. Of course, I'm going to go through this and get prepared for tomorrow. All right? But I need y'all to check this out.
I'll start.
Oh,
Oh, do you want to go first?
no, I don't. You go.
I was just going to be on slide 7, talking about bundling and saving.
right.
You're cutting out.
New York Post. Chinese flight attendants are being told to wear disposable diapers in order to avoid airplane bathrooms and avoid COVID-19 infection. It is recommended that cabin crew members wear disposable diapers and avoid using the lavatories barring special circumstances to avoid risks. In late March, a cautious passenger aboard a flight from Milan, Italy and Seoul contracted the virus. And researchers later concluded that it was highly likely she caught the bug when she took her mask and used the bathroom. Along with disposable undergarments, flight crews have been told to wear masks, goggles, and shoe covers, especially those on flights and from high-risk countries, according to CNN. New York Post. That's right. The airline captains and stewardess and others will be walking down the aisles, giving your coffee and tea in planes, first class, holding a load. Can't make this stuff up, folks. Are we not at the end of the world? Chapter verse. Let's go.
St. Matthew chapter 24, verse number 24. For there shall arise false Christs and false apostles, and shall show great signs and wonders.
Now we know the false apostles are the churches that were set up after the time of Polycarp of Sinope. After that, paganism began to arise, and the Roman paganism pushing Mithraism as well as Babylonian worships and all that began to become the mainstream norm, paganism. So the false apostles are the Romans switching the black apostles out with what? White apostles, Roman ministers, the papacy. Read.
For there shall arise false Christs and false apostles,
Read.
And shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect.
If it was possible, they could deceive the very elect. But as you can see, brothers and sisters, it isn't possible. If it was possible, that means if you don't have a foundation in this word, in this Bible, you're susceptible to all of the deceptions we're seeing in the media and in the news right now. Mm-hmm. See? But if you're grounded in Christ, you'll understand that all of this, what they're pushing in the news, in the media, is deceit. This is a war against humanity. What they're doing right now, this is an attack on the economy of the earth and those who own businesses. Now, this will not affect the corporate businesses at all. Mm-hmm. This will affect the regular mom and pop, everyday generational middle class or above middle class businesses. Mm-hmm. They're looking to actually pull the plug on the regular economy to throw everyone in the same bubble together with the poor and turn these rich Western countries into third world. That's the plan. Mm-hmm. That's the plan. So right now, what's going on in New York with Cuomo and all that, folks, that's warfare. They're decimating family businesses who did nothing wrong to anyone. They're destroying their business, their livelihood, giving these people a slow bleed. And it's a shame because it's through fear they were able to do this. In a normal free society, the people who make up the republic would patronize each other. Will patronize each other anyway. They would help each other anyway. Because it's not the government officials that's the government. In a republic, it's supposed to be the people. And they're supposed to represent the people. But this isn't a republic, folks. This is straight fascism. Where the government is making a decision on your future livelihood. That's fascism. When the people should get together and say, you can say what you want. If I need a sandwich, I'm going to that brother for a sandwich. I'm going to continue to help this brother or sister. See? So what they're doing, folks, what they're doing in New York, closing businesses and all that, that's straight warfare. They're choking the businesses out. And then at the end of the day, they're going to come back instead of coming back this time with a, what you would call stimulus check, they're going to come back with stimulus with a prerequisite. Yeah, you can get the stimulus. Roll up your sleeves. Watch. What they did earlier this year was really roping you in so that the majority of people wouldn't revolt against a whole system, a whole country of people getting choked out through fascism. This is why they begin to put stimulus checks in the government and all that, because if they told people this was really a topple of the whole country, the people would have stood together and revolted together. See? So what they did, it was slick how they did it, because they did it in the midst of an election and had everybody up in arms racially against each other, focusing on Trump while they were choking out all the businesses within the United States. I mean, this was a master plan. You were so worried about George Floyd and all this other crap they were putting out there, when really their plan was to choke out the whole system financially, to have you dependent on a fascist government to sustain yourself. They were destroying your businesses on purpose, and that was the plan. Let's go. Come on.
Verse number 25. Behold, I told you before, wherefore if they shall say unto you, behold, he is in the desert.
He's in the desert.
Go not forth.
Don't listen to people telling you, well, I know where to go. I know what to do. Okay, so I need to understand, okay, who are you with again? What is your works again? Well, no, I'm good. I'm going to stick with those who we know has direction through the word. We don't know you. Okay. So what they'll try to do is they'll try to demonize or try to throw some shade or darkness on those you trust, so that you by default you are trapped in a hole with this traitor. All right, let's go. Come on.
Verse number 26. Wherefore, if they shall say unto you, behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not.
Yeah.
For as the lightning cometh out of the east and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
Which means, if someone tell you they know where Christ's going to be and all that, don't listen to him, because when he comes, every eye shall see.
That's right.
You're not going to find out Christ is coming back through a text or through a phone call. So he says, when somebody tell you, let's go in because I know where he's coming. Listen, right. Christ said, don't believe it, because when I come, the whole earth will know. You going to Revelation?
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
Revelation 1, verse number 7.
Come on.
Behold, he cometh with the clouds.
He cometh with the clouds.
And every eye shall see him.
And every eye shall see him. So if someone say, go here, go there, they know where he at, where he going to be, don't listen to him. You're talking to the devil's child. If someone say they built a tabernacle, like, hold up, who told you to build a tabernacle? You get the hell out of here. Who you? So you building something that Christ's going to come into. I'm building a runway for Christ. He coming this way. Yeah. Believe them not. He's the guy with the two sticks. Yeah, Christ, this way. Yeah, come this way. No, every eye shall see. And I know cats out there, they get mad at me. Man, Elder Regard, man, he be totally tripping up my game. I need another angle now. Nah, it's not going to work like that. Every eye shall see when Christ returns. So you don't have to worry about someone giving you some special sauce. I got the special sauce. I got the real way. Oh yeah, them guys are deep, but they don't have my sauce. Read on.
Verse number 28. For wheresoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together.
Where the carcasses are, that's where the eagles will be gathered together. The carcasses will be gathered in the valley of Jehoshaphat. And that's in the Middle East, where all of the armies are aligning themselves as we speak. Okay. Beginning with the war in Iran, and guess what? We got some news on that. As a matter of fact, I'm bringing that out tomorrow in the academy, and I'll touch on that more next Sabbath. But while we're under this COVID crap, the real news is actually going down in the Middle East. Read.
Verse 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken.
And what that's talking about, when Christ returns, all of the luminaries, which are angels, stars, moons, the sun, they all will dim their light for him. And the only light in the universe will be Christ returning into this realm. Every eye shall see. Okay. So don't get tripped up when cats be talking about, yeah, I got a video on the blood moons and this, that, and the other. What scripture is that? Jeremiah 10th chapter say, be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. Okay. So you're not supposed to be trying to, I'm going to count these moons and I know how many moons we got, blood moons. That's all off. Okay. This is talking about when Christ returns, all the luminaries going to take their original shape in creation, the angels, and follow Christ back into this realm. He'll be the only light in the universe. Read.
Verse 30. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven.
Come on.
And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn.
I thought the whole earth was waiting for Christ's return.
Then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn.
Now, why are the tribes of the earth, the sons of Ham, Shem, and Japheth, outside of Israel, the children of Israel, why are they mourning if they're waiting for Christ to return? Because they know Christ's kingdom means what? Their servitude. No longer will they make Israel, our people, serve ourselves for them. No longer will we serve their children. So they're mourning. Why? Because it's the end of their empire and the beginning of ours. Christ is coming back with our kingdom. And this is why all the other nations, whether you believe in Buddha, whether you believe in Allah, this is why these other nations are going to be crying and mourning. Okay. A black guy's coming back with an attitude. Okay? That's right. You got it. Tom Cruise isn't coming back with long hair. And the first place Christ is going to deal with, the nations who are within the borders of our land. He's going to burn that whole thing to a crisp. And guess what? That's right. Then he's going to he's going to totally destroy the papacy. The whole Vatican, the gold and everything in the Vatican was made out of Solomon's temple, the fall of the temple. They came in, destroyed Jerusalem, and took all the riches out of our temple to build the Vatican. And guess what? That's right. Christ is going to squeeze the papacy until its head pop. Okay? That's how it goes down. It's our Christ coming to fight a war. Yeah, just take your spirit. No, you're not going up. Hell is where you go. Okay? Christ is coming back. See?
Quick precept. This is Revelation chapter 17, verse 12.
Yeah.
And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb.
They shall make war with Christ. It's speaking of the EU, the European Union, Read Rome. Read.
And the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. Verse 16, jumping down. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire.
And we know it's the EU, the Rome right now is behind dismantling America so that they can have power in the last days with Satan, 1 hour with the beast. Let's go back to the book of Matthew.
Yes, sir. St. Matthew chapter 24, verse number 31.
Come on.
And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the 4 winds, from one end of the earth, or one end of the heaven, even to the other.
Come on.
Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, ye know that summer is nigh. So likewise ye, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the doors.
When you shall see all the things that Christ just mentioned, know that he's at the door. Now, folks, I'm going to tell you how it works. It breaks down in the Apocalypse of Paul that each of us has an angel of the presence that goes before the Most High every sundown. It's like a total mirror of how you look is represented before the Most High every sundown with wings, an angel. This angel of the presence is with us at all times. Okay? It reports back to the Almighty. And this is the spirit the Most High used to have you open your ears to certain information that will lead you to the throne. From the beginning, it's their job to minister unto us, to direct us back to the Almighty. That's how it works. And it's these spirits that the Most High have appointed from the beginning to help gather the elect to the elect and help guide us out of this. We're not alone. So it's not just our conversation and planning that's going to move us to safety. There's no way we as a people, according to the Bible, according to God or ever, made it without spiritual intervention. So you have to have hope and trust in the unseen who's for you. That spirit that actually, folks, convict your spirit and say, you know what, I have to do better. That spirit that pricks your conscience and say, you know what, I was wrong. I need to be right. That's spiritual help. When we do wrong, that darkness that comes upon us, that's the grieving of the Holy Spirit. That's the spiritual realm grieving your sin against the Father. You must be knowledgeable of these feelings that operates on the outside of our being and where they come from and how that affects our moving into safety. You have to understand these things, not just the physical part, because people are just looking at the physical planning because they're carnal, not realizing that the physical planning comes from what? The spiritual realm and guiding us. And we can only be guided through what? Standing in Christ and walking and living an upright life. That's how we're guided. It's not just physical plans. Only carnal people are looking at the physical and saying, well, okay, I can do that and I can do that. But no, the idea of what to do physically comes from the spiritual realm. And you must be in a spiritual place to receive it.
That's right.
Okay? I'm just quantifying this so that people will know that when we do things, even as a church, it's not us just coming up with, yeah, we have a good idea. It don't work that way.
Exactly.
It doesn't work that way.
Exactly.
You have to be guided by the Spirit when it comes to how to teach, what to do, and how to prepare in our personal lives. Okay? I'm just trying to quantify and explain the spirit that we can apply in our daily lives that lead to safety. Okay, let's go.
Yes, sir. Verse number 32. Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, ye know that summer is nigh.
Come on.
So likewise ye, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the door.
Even at the door.
Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled.
When it says this generation, what was it talking about? See, most people say, well, that generation passed. No. Go back to the initial context. When shall be the end of the world and the signs of thine coming? So when it says generations, it's talking about this generation that shall not pass. It's talking about the end of the world generation, which is 35 Jubilees. It's speaking of Christ's life all the way up until he save us out of the hands of the enemies. That's the generation it's talking about. The last day generations, which is 35 Jubilees. A time, and a half of times. So when it says this generation shall not pass, it wasn't talking about the people that were living during Christ's time. It's speaking of the whole generation of the prophecy. You got it? Keep everything in the context of what the disciples are asking. See? Finish reading.
Verse number 33. So likewise, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the door.
Even at the door.
Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled.
And that's how you know it's speaking of a generation all the way up until the time Christ returns. Because he went from the time of the disciples all the way of the time in which you would see him coming in the clouds. Right? See? So it's speaking of that generation, the last 35 Jubilees. Let's go.
35. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away.
His word shall not pass away. And when it says heaven and earth shall pass away, folks, why? Because he went to prepare a place. Like this place was prepared in the beginning. Guess who prepared this place? Initially, before it was infected with Satan. Christ prepared this place we're living on called earth. Well, guess what? He prepared another place for us. In his Father's house, there's many mansions. This will pass away and we will have a new heaven and a new earth. It's coming. And I'm going into that piece, week 12, the judgment of the gods, to show after that what Christ went to prepare for us. Eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, neither has it entered into the minds of man what Christ went and did for us. Folks, this whole thing is cancerous. This whole thing has been infected through the initial sin of Adam, to a degree where Christ went, when he went up there, the same way he prepared this place for Adam, he prepared a place for us. After the 1,000-year servitude, we'll have something even greater than earth. Check that out. See, and this is what we have to look beyond our current status and state and what's going on politically, and actually see the big picture, which gives us hope beyond this media scare and what the governments are doing. The view we're given today, folks, was the view that Christ had, and understanding his rulership, his power, what he would prepare for those who love him and is obedient to him and is willing to sacrifice themselves in this earth for him, for his cause, like he did for us. He's preparing all of this. And when you get that hope, you no longer fear what's going on in this earth. You understand that this is temporal. This will pass. See? This will pass. And we'll still be here. We're the children of God. Are you with me? Let's go.
Verse number 35. Heaven and earth shall pass, but my word shall not pass away. But of that day and hour knoweth no man.
No man knoweth the day or the hour. Read.
No, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noe were.
Has what?
As the days of Noe were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
What we will recognize at the very end before Christ comes is what Noah and Enoch recognized. What was going on in the earth. Read.
For as in the days of Noah that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking.
As in the days of Noah, the title of this video, it says they were eating and drinking. Read.
Marrying and giving in marriage.
Marrying and giving into marriage. Read.
Until the day that Noah entered into the ark.
Until Noah entered into the ark. People are going through their daily routine all the way up until the time the ark was shut. Believing at that time, while everything was, they thought things would just remain the same. During the whole time Noah was building this ark, brothers and sisters, he was warning the people. The whole time. Building an ark on dry ground, and people are looking at him like he's crazy. I mean, something would have tipped me off initially if I would have looked up and started seeing animals coming before Noah, bowing to him to get on this ark. Yeah, Noah didn't go into the jungle to find animals. He was there, and the Most High says, because the fallen ones have tainted creation, only allow the animals on the ark that are from the original creation that were named by my son Adam. I'm going to have the animals come by two and crouch before you. Any animal that try to get in that I didn't create in the beginning and name through Adam, I'll have the other animals kill if they attempt to get on the ark. You can read that in the book of Jasher, folks. That would have tipped me off, seeing animals just coming out of nowhere for safety. And I'm like, hold up. I think I'm smarter than animals. What they know that I don't? Mm-hmm. That's like you at a campfire and you seeing all these animals running this way because there's a fire, and you sitting there roasting marshmallows. If they're running, I'm running with them. So that would have tipped me off with the fact that the animals, I mean, Noah didn't have to go catch animals. He was sitting there, and the Most High said, don't worry about it. The original animals of creation still exist, and I will send them before you by two. Anyone that don't belong, I'm talking about, they had dinosaurs and all this stuff that was made through cross splicing. The Nephilim used these animals because the regular animals couldn't fill them up. So they started cross splicing animals to have animals big enough to feed Nephilim. But yet, again, these animals would need more resources than what God provided. So these animals began to eat people. with cross splicing and all that. And the Most High was like, well, no. If I don't stop this, the righteous will die. My son will not make it into the earth to turn this sin and to judge this sin and to bring forth righteousness. If I don't stop this, then my son cannot be born in the earth to bring forth the righteous kingdom. Boom. As in the days of Noah, then shall the coming of the Son of Man be. And people are going to be celebrating, doing their regular thing, not realizing that we are the generation living in the last days. They were in the last days and no one could have told them anything. Folks, we're in the last days of this. Now, those who are in Christ are eternal. See? So we don't fear what goes down with this. Because if it takes this to get to freedom, we must go through the trouble. Right? Finish reading, because don't look for the Gentiles to free you. The Gentiles, when Christ comes, the Gentiles are going to be mourning. If it was up to them, our people would serve them forever. See? Read.
Verse 38. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away.
And took them away, read.
So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
So shall all the coming of the Son of Man be. Let me give you some examples of what was going on before the flood. Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir.
Let's go to Genesis 6:1.
Genesis chapter 6, verse number 1. And it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them.
And daughters were born unto them.
That the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair.
That the sons of God, who are the angels, saw the daughters of men that they were fair. Read.
And they took them wives of all which they chose.
Come on.
And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he is also flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years.
His days should be 120 years. I'm going to do what? Cut the eventual life expectancy of man down. But there's a higher prophecy here than just 120 years. That it will be 120 jubilees before all sin is judged in the earth, the return of our Lord and Savior. 120 jubilees from Adam's sin to Christ's return. 120 jubilees, 6,000 years before judgment. That's right. It would take 6,000 more years to make man throughout all of these generations over again, like it took to make Adam, before the rest, our final rest under Christ. Read.
Verse 4. There were giants in the earth in those days.
There were Nephilim in the earth in those days. Giants are Nephilim. Okay? This is the mixture between what? Angelic beings and flesh. Dungeons and Dragons. All of that. The stuff they show on Lord of the Rings, showing these big animals and what was that series with Daenerys and all that that they had? The Game of Thrones. Pre-flood scenarios like Game of Thrones, Nephilim, giants walking around, dragons. As in the days of Noah, then shall the coming of the Son of Man be. In a nutshell, freaks. Hybrid freaks running the earth. It's no wonder at the very end they have us, now they're prepared us to be open to receive anything outside of the norm.
That's right.
What's wrong with a traditional man and a traditional woman and a traditional family? No. What they're doing is they're grooming society to accept what was before the flood. Because through this mixture of beings came hermaphrodites. A man with woman organs too, and a woman with male organs too. All of that stuff. Chemicals they would make with babies coming out deformed and all that. The same things you see Pfizer and all of them coming through and shooting in our veins. Guess what? All of that stuff is pre-flood to make freaks. What we're witnessing now is what Noah and Enoch and Methuselah prayed against. Read.
There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that.
And also after that.
When the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men.
Come on.
And they bare children to them. The same became mighty men which were of old.
They became mighty men which were of old. They became the power structure, the judges, whom you would call politicians and all that. They became the leading structure over mankind before the flood. The mind behind government is what we're seeing here. Satan's government started here. So eventually they would initiate man, the sons of Ham, Shem, and Japheth, into their, what you would call, into their governmental structure to serve in it. Now, these are those of the sons of Noah, or the sons of Shem, excuse me. Now, it wasn't Ham, Shem, and Japheth, the sons of Shem and the sons of Cain. They were initiated into this and gained positions under the Nephilim government. And you're going to find that the structures we see in the earth today, like the political landscape of how they have it, came from these constructs, these political constructs. See? Read.
There were giants also in the earth in those days.
Come on.
Also after that.
And also after that, because it began to happen again after the flood. To a degree, when when Joshua and Caleb sent spies into the land, what happened? They said that we were like grasshoppers, because the Nephilim began to do what? They began to operate again in the land of Canaan. The Most High had us march. He said, listen, you don't have to war against them. You march around Jericho 7 times and I'll have the angels push the buildings over on them. It showed in Genesis that the buildings just started falling on them and killing them in the city. But really, the Most High had the angels work to fight for the children of Israel on the outside of the cities, pushing the buildings on those who have always constructed ideologies and planned wars against us while we were in Egypt. Nephilim. These are the same people. This is the brain trust behind politicians till this day. I'm going into it week 12, okay? In the academy, judgment of the gods. Like I said before, if you believe that this is about someone, that people is telling us to do these things with mass, and that people are behind these diseases that's poisoning mankind, and that it's people coming up with these ideas. No, Fauci and Gates and all them, folks, these are just lieutenants in Satan's army. They're just doing what they're told. Okay? These laboratories and all this stuff they're creating to kill us and to destroy us, this is as in the days of Noah. It's the Nephilim being and all that. These freaks who are over us that hate God, hate our families, hate the children of Israel, hate the fact that we still exist, are behind these campaigns to kill off mankind. As in the days of Noah. Read.
Verse number 5. And God saw the wickedness of man was great in the earth.
So what? Because we began to do what? We began to follow these ideologies. We began to side with Satan. Even back then. Like you have people now. Well, it's just my job. Well, you know what, you're shooting in children up, jacking them up. Well, it ain't. Hey, I'm just following orders. Hey, man, you can't lock us up and put us up in here and do this. It's not me. It's the law. Man, you know what you're doing is wrong, right? I'm just doing my job. You can't push me up in here. Just doing my job. But then he'll be sitting there saying, well, after he done pushed you somewhere to be destroyed, You can't do this. You know my position. I did everything you asked me to. You getting there where he is. It's my job. See? So you'll do what they say do and believe that because you're obedient under Satan's law, that he's going to give you a pass. No. The same way he have you as a social mercenary against others, he's already cultivating one over you to do what you're doing to those under you. Go ahead, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Verse number 5.
Come on.
And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually.
Come on.
And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast.
I will destroy man and beast in the earth. Read.
And creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made man. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord.
But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Almighty. See, this is how we must be. We know the Most High is going to judge this wicked earth. Okay? There's no turning back. There's no saving this world, folks. It's over. Okay? That's right. The insane is running the asylum. There's no turning this back. So we have to ask the Most High to have mercy and grace on us as he did with Noah. He's seen that, okay, this person right here, well, no. I need the angels to hedge this brother, this sister. Give them direction out of this. Since there's a remnant that must be saved anyway, it might as well be us, right? Since there's a number that was prophesied to make it, why can't that be us? See? But like, well, okay, Lord, what do I have to do to be in that number? You have to do what Noah did. He served the living God. He served the living God. And guess what? He chose the Most High over an unrepentant, wicked world. When it was easy, it would have been easily accepted for him to fall to the norm, since the whole earth was degraded to the level of wickedness. It would have been nothing for him to be I'm just going along with everyone else. But no. He said, I don't care how wicked the world has become. I'm standing on my traditional values that was taught to me by my fathers. I'm standing with God. And you know what? The Most High remembered that. In a time where he was invited to parties and invited to this, invited to that, but say, well, nah, I'm just going to build this ark. Y'all got that. Oh, no, well, maybe later. Don't worry about it. And kept on going. The Most High remembered that. Read.
Verse 9. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with God.
And he walked with the Almighty. He conferred with the Most High before making key life-changing decisions. Well, before I do this, let me make sure it's right with the Almighty. Okay, well, this law, that law. Okay, I'm following the law. I'm right in making this decision according to the Most High's wishes. Okay, he walked with the Almighty. He was known as a righteous man, as a man of the Almighty. Usually you walk with God when you're around people who's in the world, and automatically they know they can't do certain things around you. And without you saying anything, they know that when you are around, they're in their best, spiritual behavior. Without you even saying anything, they know, okay, you come around, they put out their cigarette. I'm sorry, man. I know you ain't down with that. This is how you know there's something in you, that you're walking with the Almighty, where people who know you, they become better just because you are around. And if someone feel that they can sin around you, then you know. Then you have to ask what's in you that have them comfortable. If they can still be whatever, but it doesn't sear their conscience, there's something in you that tells them they're safe sinning around you. See? But if you're walking with the Most High and you have a standard, and people know you have a standard, guess what? When you come outside the room, people will automatically walk accordingly. That's how Noah was. See? There's certain things where I come around family, no matter what they want to do, stuff they know they can't even ask me to do. But as soon as I leave, I'm sure they conversate about all types of stuff they're going to get into. Mm-hmm. See? Finish going.
Verse 10, And Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth also was corrupt before God.
And the earth was corrupt before God.
And the earth was filled with violence.
With what?
With violence.
With what?
With violence.
As in the days of Noah, then shall the coming of the Son of Man be. It was a shame what I seen during this election cycle concerning our people. That was a sign for me in of itself. Because look at our protest in the 60s and how much we were able to get done. How you had prestigious men, religious men of high regard with women, ladies on their arm, representing God's family. And look at those protests and what it got and what it was able to get done. And look at these protests led by freaks and white crazy libtards. What we just seen with our people breaking stuff up, robbing and doing all types of evil. And I'm like, you know what? The earth is filled with violence. And it's not just filled with violence. What makes it a double sin is the fact that our people are the face of it. They have duped us. Now the Gentiles who have always enslaved us have the moral high ground to say that we're disorganized, we're wicked, we're confused freaks. Why? Because we're allowing these people, these freaks, to represent us publicly as our leaders with no pushback. With no pushback. See? Read.
Verse number 12. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. And God said unto Noah, The end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth.
And he says, I will destroy them with the earth. And guess what, brothers and sisters? I said years ago, I'm like, you know what? And we talked about it in a lesson, The Hour of Temptation. Before stuff shut down and all this, and we mentioned that hour of temptation or the last years, we have to get ourselves right with the Most High. And if we begin to fall into our former sins without repenting, guess what? Our minds will be seared in that evil to a degree in which it's reprobate, to a degree where you don't know that you're actually doing wrong anymore. And that's a bad place to be when you think you're right and your light is darkness. In that hour of temptation, you got to choose right, because once you choose wrong, that may be your path up until the time all of us behold that light. I'm going to tell you, that's what happened during the time of Noah. You think people that was walking during Noah's time didn't know that some of the things they were doing wasn't right? You think they didn't have a conscience sometimes and regretted some of their actions? Of course, they started thinking on things, but guess what? They didn't get it together. They didn't make a conscious choice to say, from this day forward, the old man will die and I will become that new person who Christ will look at, or the Most High, or the Most High will see in this time of trouble. in this time of perversion and wickedness. I'm going to do enough where I stand out from the rest, like Noah did. Even if I don't have some great works and all this, I have power to be right in my house and dictate the path for my children as the example. I have that power. Because don't forget, folks, Noah was just a man with one family. And it was him, his wife, his 3 sons, and their wives who made it onto the ark. And through that, all life that we see came from that. So don't say that you need some great grandiose thing to happen. No. It's what you do to make your family Noah's family. It starts in the home. He'll save one family and do what? Make a multitude, make many nations. He only need one family. So don't think you have to do all this great stuff. He says, no, just start at your home. If you're a man, you be that Noah. If you're the wife, you be that wife that's a helpmeet to that Noah. Build that ark, which is your home first. And that extends to all of us. Your home with my home with that home, guess what? We have an ark of safety together. See? Come on.
If I could mention as well, during this time, it was just about the basic principles. Worshiping the Most High, how to worship the Most High, prayer, kindness, charity. It was those basic principles that the fathers followed in their reverence of the Most High that allowed the Most High to use them and call them. So as you're mentioning, they didn't have to have all of this big, great, information and all these different things. They just followed and dealt with the basics.
Exactly. Dealing with the basics and living a righteous life. And when it came a choice between making a choice, like for instance, I can only pray for people that's in the healthcare field or other fields, but I know the righteous wouldn't look at this and say, you know what? If it came a choice where I have to administer something that's going to kill my people, and now I become an accomplice. Because what I'm doing is even worse than Bill Gates. Bill Gates is talking about it. I'm doing it. I'm his facilitator. It's one thing a guy be in the face of something. It's another person on the ground actually executing the mind of a maniacal madman. So that makes you even worse. Because he can talk all he wants, but he's not running around injecting anyone with anything. So it's up to us to look at it and say, well, okay, how can I stand on the right side of this? If I'm sitting to administer something into the veins of my children or the children of God or other people under the guise that I'm just doing my job. Folks, no. You know who you are? You know who you are? You're the midwives during the time of Egypt that decided that they would follow Pharaoh to kill the firstborn instead of you're those midwives, not the midwives who say, well, no, I'm not going to be responsible for killing the children of God. You're the midwives who did it for a check. You're the soldiers during the time of Christ who went out through the decree of Herod to kill all children 2 years and back. Once Herod realized that Christ escaped the decree for his death. You're them. Now, these men in the Herod didn't kill anyone, but the army that went out with the swords are even more guilty for killing the children. So what I'm saying, folks, every one of us have a choice based on our occupation and what we're willing to do or not willing to do for our livelihood. That's how Satan set this up. He set up a capitalistic system that will totally absolve us from anything. Well, we'll have clean hands based on the fact that we can now use the fact that, well, it's just these were my job requirements. Nah, the Most High is not looking at it like that. If you administer something that hurts or kills someone, you're the killer. And the God said, and our God said in Exodus 20, thou shalt not murder. You're not going to stand before the throne and say, well, this was my job. So that's why I feel for people in the healthcare field, because guess what? Now that's coming to light what you've always suspected you were a part of anyway. Okay? But now there's no hiding it now. There's no hiding it now. Well, what can I do? Well, how am I going to feed my family? How am I going to do that? Guess what? Faith. You make the right choice by the Almighty and you stand on faith instead of a paycheck. And let the Holy Spirit guide you into your next endeavor that will lead to actually more than what you have. But it's going to take faith. It's no one cushioning you to move from one thing to the next. You have enough faith that by you doing the right thing, the Most High is going to provide a better way for you. Mm-hmm. That's what it's going to take. Anyone out there that's working for this apparatus and make a choice to side with Satan's government over people, guess what? You can't blame the government and say it's your job. This is what the law was. This is what that was. Nah. You've become a personal mercenary, a minister for Satan, to war against the children of God. You are on the wrong side of justice. And you will be judged for that choice. Let's go.
Verse 14. Make thee an ark of gopher wood. Make room.
We know the ark was made. I'm digressing down. So let me go to a few examples of what went down during the days of Noah. Two scriptures. Let's get the book of Jasher. 4 and 16.
All right, this is Jasher chapter 2, verse number 16.
No, 4 and 16.
4 and 16, so okay. Jasher 4, verse number 16.
I'm going to read book of Jasher down to 16 through 21. And if someone say they don't believe in the book of Jasher, well, that's on you, because the Bible tells us to refer to it. And I rather believe the Bible over you. So if you don't agree or understand it, it doesn't mean the book isn't correct. That means you haven't been taught correctly. Okay? Now, let's get the book of Jasher 4 and 16. Read it.
Yes, sir. And all the sons of men departed from the ways of the Lord in those days as they multiplied upon the face of the earth.
So they departed from the ways of the Lord. So these people knew better. Like a lot of our people who grew up with a moral compass. Even though church didn't teach us everything, we did have a conscience towards God while we were there. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about us presently in Babylon. We had a conscience of God, and church constantly reminded us of our responsibility to be right, to be righteous people, mm-hmm. to treat others like Christ would have treated them. We still had that conscience. Well, guess what? These people had the conscience too, and they began to what? Walk away from their moral compass. Read.
All the sons of men departed from the ways of the Lord in those days as they multiplied upon the face of the earth.
Come on.
With sons and daughters, and they taught one another evil practices, and they continued sinning against the Lord.
And they began sinning against the Almighty. Read.
And every man made unto himself a god, and they robbed and plundered every man his neighbor as well as his relative. And they corrupted the earth, and the earth was filled with violence.
Through idolatry, they began to teach the ideology of the fallen ones and made idols to the angels. And then they began to teach against the God of Adam, the God of Seth. Read.
Verse 18. And their judges and rulers went to the daughters of men and took their wives by force from their husbands according to their choice. And the sons of men in those days took from the cattle of the earth, the beasts of the field.
Now, when it says the judges, it's that the sons of God, they became judges over the earth who created these wicked governments against the God of Adam, the God of Seth. Read.
And their judges and rulers went to the daughters of men and took their wives by force from their husbands according to their choice.
Adultery.
And the sons of men in those days took from the cattle of the earth.
Took from the cattle of the earth.
The beast of the field.
The beast of the field.
And the fowls of the air.
The fowls of the air.
And taught the mixture of animals.
And taught the mixture of animals. What is this? Cross splicing, cross breeding. Which usually leads to what? Diseases. You notice how when they talk about the COVID or the Ebola and all these things, they say it was one cross animal with another that crossed and the disease came through a bat or whatever, and it started infecting people. It's the same ideology before the flood. Diseases usually come from the cross splicing and doing things you're not art to do with animals. See? There's nothing new under the sun. Satanic laboratories before the flood. You had to have laboratories to begin to cross splice. These are laboratories. Read.
And taught the mixture of animals of one species with the other in order therewith to provoke the Lord. And the Most High saw the whole earth that it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted its way upon earth, all men and all animals.
All men and all animals. This is where you get dinosaurs, Tyrannosaurus rexes. All these big skeletals that we see in museums. That's right. Dinosaurs. It wasn't 100 billion years ago. These were satanic animals made through cross splicing. That's right. The days of Noah. And they're doing the same things now, folks. Same things now, the crossbreed of animals and all that. And now they have fish farms where they breed in certain types of salmon and this, that, and the other. All that came from, because why? The earth didn't have enough to feed these beings. They had to create GMO foods. Here we are. One thing I wanted to bring out in general, how abortion was also an ideology taught during that time. Let's get exactly. Y'all thought it started with just Planned Parenthood, huh? Nah. Bill Gates being Satan's baby. Guess what? He got the information from Satan. It's pre-flood information. Let's get the book of Jasher 2 and 16.
The book of Jasher, chapter 2, verse 16.
Read.
And these are the names of the children of Canaan, the firstborn, or the name of the firstborn, Mahalalel, the second Enon, the third Mered, and their sisters were Adah and Zillah.
Let's go straight to it.
Yes, sir.
I think it's down to the 20th verse where it says pre-abortion, pre-flood abortion. Look at 22.
I'll start at, let's see here, verse 20.
Read.
And some of the sons of men caused their wives to drink a draught.
Hold up. They caused their wife to drink a draught.
That would render them barren.
That would render them barren so that they cannot have children. Birth control. Birth control was one of the devices used and taught by the fallen angels pre-flood. This is why the Most High killed off the old world. Because Satan was trying to stop the righteous souls from coming into the earth who would judge him. So they started convincing women to keep your shape. You know what? You can drink this potion for birth control. Read it again.
And some of the sons of men caused their wives to drink a draught that would render them barren.
That would render them barren. Birth control. Oh, you thought birth control pills was some new technology in our current time, huh? Read.
That would render them barren in order that they might retain their figures.
So that they can keep their shape. Read.
And whereby their beautiful appearance might not fade.
Come on.
And when the sons of men caused some of their wives to drink, Zillah drank with them, and the childbearing women appeared abominable in the sight of their husbands as widows, whilst their husbands live, for to the barren ones only were they attached.
So they only started dealing with what? The women on birth control, because these women kept their shape. So they started looking at the women who blessed them with children as less than. What verse are you at?
Verse 23.
No, okay. That's all I wanted. Because also abortion is a part of that. A person choosing to kill off the baby to keep their figure. The whole ideology of Planned Parenthood is pre-flood. And don't forget what Christ says in Matthew 24. As in the days of Noah, then shall the coming of the Son of Man be. Let's go to Enoch. Last scripture. Enoch 68. The book of Enoch. 68 and 17 and 18. And that's the importance to understand these records, folks, because unless you have these records, you don't understand what Christ is saying when he's mentioned, as in the days of Noah, then shall the coming of the Son of Man be. Nowhere in the Bible does it go into full detail exactly why God, the God of Israel, would eventually flood the earth. Why would he kill off all humanity and only leave one family? Right? So you have to go into these other records like Jasher, Jubilees, Enoch. You want it? The book of Enoch 68. The 68th chapter.
Okay, maybe 69 in this one here.
Yeah, 69. Start at 17.
Yes, sir. Let me see here. In this one, it's let me start at verse 12.
Okay. Chapter and verse of the lawyer.
Enoch 69, verse 12.
Enoch 69, verse 12.
It says, for men were created exactly like the angels to the intent that they should continue pure and righteous, and death, which destroys everything, could not have taken hold on them, but through their knowledge they are perishing, and through this power.
Exactly, because the angels, just like mankind, have two arms, a torso, legs, and a head. So we were made in a lower image of the angels. Read.
Right, like the Bible says, a little lower.
A little lower than the angels. Right. Go on.
And the fifth was named Kazdajah, this is he who showed the children of men all the wicked smitings of spirits and demons, and the smitings of the embryo in the womb, that it may pass away.
The what?
It says, and the smitings of the embryo in the womb. The
smiting of the embryo in the womb.
That it may pass away.
That it may pass away. They taught pre-flood how to kill the baby before it's born. The day after pill. And even after that, abortion. This is why the Most High began to destroy the earth. Because this is how Satan believed that he can put off the time of judgment if he stopped certain people from coming into the earth who was born to bring forth generations to judge him. So he figured, okay, let me just stop people from being born. Let me sterilize everyone. If I concentrate on the woman's womb, then no prophets would be born who will judge against me. Christ cannot be born who can judge against me. So Satan began to do what? He set up a system to concentrate on the women that would more so aim towards the women doing what? Controlling birth. And through fear or through societal scenarios like liberalism and freedom, make them feel empowered, killing babies. Now, one thing about Christ himself, it's one thing about grown people making their decisions which lead to judgment. It's another thing targeting the innocent. There's a special judgment for that. And this is why Satan did this. Let me set up a system of sterilization and embolden the women to say, my body, my choice. To get access to their wombs, to make them sterile so that the righteous are not born to judge the unrighteous. Huh? And folks, since they're going into my body, my choice, and it's okay to do that to kill a living soul that belongs to God, guess what? It's my body, my choice when it comes to these stinking needles that they're using to poison and kill people. This is my body, my choice, and my temple belongs to God. Okay? I'm not into nothing. I'm not into you. No one injecting me with anything because I understand its origin. It's evil. It's a weapon, not just a physical weapon, but a spiritual weapon. As in the days of Noah, then shall the coming of the Son of Man be. So what can we do to be safe through this and make our way through? Acts, the 2nd chapter, when it says repent. Acts 2 and 38.
Acts chapter 2, verse 38.
Read.
Then Peter said unto them, Repent
repent
and be baptized, every one of you, in the name of YASHAYA the Anointed.
In the name of AHAYAH Bahashim YASHAYA. That's right. That's the only way to kill the old man that was shaped in iniquity. You must confess. We must confess who we are. We must confess what's in our heart that leads us into darkness and ask the Most High to help us against it. By doing what? Confessing it, then putting it away through baptism. Then you will receive a spirit that can guide you going forward in righteousness. And one thing about that spirit, when you walk in that spirit, there should be no guile in your mouth. You never speak with an evil intent to harm or to hurt anyone. That's not your intent. Your intent when you speak is to guide others with your mouth into the kingdom like Christ did. The greatest tool on earth. It could be the greatest tool or it could be the greatest weapon, the tongue. Watch how you use it. It can lead to life or death. Receive that spirit. Walk circumspect. Wise as serpents, harmless as doves, and watch what you say. Especially in the midst of a time in which the whole society is being socially weaponized against you. Read.
Then Peter said unto them, Repent and be baptized, every one of you, in the name of YASHAYA the Anointed, for the remission of sins, and ye shall receive the gift of the Holy Spirit.
And you shall receive a gift, a guide, a helper. See? And this is the spirit that gathers the righteous, the elect to the elect. And we'll move together. We'll operate together. And for those of you who are looking for baptism, hey, we're setting it up all around the earth, regardless of what's going on here. It's time for souls to be saved in preparation for our Lord's coming, for YASHAYA's coming. We're in the hour of temptation. And as the days of Noah, then shall the coming of the Son of Man be. With that, stay in the right spirit, and I can't wait because there's a lot I couldn't talk about today. I'm going to jump right back in tomorrow for the Academy. I have to talk about this news of what's going on from a political landscape with the armies and all that. We're going to be going into that tomorrow. And again, we must get our spirit together and be guided through all of this. The devil is going to do what the devil is going to do while we build an ark. Okay. Yeah. With that, and the ark is being built in the spirit. It's being built. You just stay linked in, you stay in the spirit, and don't let anyone knock you off your path. Don't let anyone do it. You stay on the path, you stay righteous, you stay doing the right thing. And if you believe that what we're doing in this church is a movement of the Almighty, guess what? This is not our church. This is Christ's church. And if you're willing to do what we did, is be baptized and come forth and bring forth your ministry within his work, guess what? We're here to welcome you with open arms. This is it. This is it. We're in the hour of temptation. We're up in it. The enemy is at the door. Stay focused, be baptized, and receive that spirit that can guide all of us together. Okay. Now we are in the enrollments for the next academy because I think we're coming up into week 10, right?
Yes, sir.
We're in week 10 right now. So we are open enrollments for the academy, which will start for all of you in about 3 weeks for the new 12-week installment. Okay. So if you're in the academy and you still want to be into the next one, you know what to do. Go to historytimes.org and get your place while we're still dealing with enrollments. Because when it comes down to it, with the censorship and what's going on, who knows what's going to happen here on YouTube, but you'll still have that access unfiltered through our classes every Sunday. And we invite you all. Okay. Even if you don't believe fully and you have some level of skepticism, guess what? That's fine too. Get in. Get in to see what it is, and don't let anyone try to filter to you outside who never been in it to try to dissuade you concerning what this is. The only way to understand what the academy is, you would have to get into it to understand its value for you, not what someone else is saying. Okay, so with the academy, we'll start that up, a brand new one for you if you've never been a part of it, or if you've been in it before. It doesn't matter, because we step it to the next level. It doesn't matter the title of any particular lesson. No lesson is the same, even if it's titled the same. And we make a conscious decision to make sure it progress from one academy to the next that way. Okay, so you go to historytimes.org if you want to enroll. Okay, if you want to, and you go there, you can, it'll tell you exactly how to enroll. And it's only $75, 2 payments for $75. Okay. It's January 10th. We begin the new academy. Okay. January 10th. It'll be week 1 for the new academy. All right. Where we have Elder Lawyer, who starts off with Hebrew 101. Shapat comes in with the news. And of course, we come in together with the lesson. All the sources and everything. A matter of fact, even when we went to the Immaculate Conception and the deception of how they was able to make people believe virgin only had one definition, there's no questioning Christ's genealogy and how he came into the earth after that last lesson we did on the strong delusion of Christianity. Okay, so go to historytimes.org. We invite you in, and this is where we can teach without being censored. Okay, the finances does help the work. It's $75 for the first month, $75 for the second month, and then after that, you're in for the full 3 months. It's that simple. Okay, it's only $150 for 3 months, and it's more information you'll get in one lesson. We guarantee you'll learn more in one lesson than you have learned all your life in any religion. Christians, Buddhists, Islam, it doesn't matter what it is. We guarantee you with one lesson, you'll learn more in one day and how to wield that Bible than you've learned all your life in any religion. We'll guarantee it. Okay? So tomorrow we're going into Elder Lawyer, the 12 sons of Ishmael and the origin of Islam. Ishmael, the devil's baby. Tomorrow. Okay? Ishmael from hell. Islam. We're going to break it down, give you the origin of Islam, and we're going into your so-called prophet you call Muhammad. Tomorrow in the academy. Oh yeah. Be there or be square. And guess what? We're going to introduce I'll lie to you tomorrow. I may go outside and grab Allah, on my front porch. Put a curtain around him and get that thing going. I think we got some Allahs out there for you. So I'm going to get me a big Allah and put a curtain around it tomorrow and break it down. Okay? With that, everything is good. Copacetic. Are you feeling good? Hey, I'm feeling good. Doesn't matter what the world does. We got next. All right. Get ready. We're the children of Israel. And guess what? We're back, baby. HistoryTimes.org. Be there. Be there.
The East is where we're from. The 12 tribes of Israel. In 721 BC, the Assyrian king, he took us down, we fell. With the great escape we went through the Euphrates. The Lord held the water still. To a land where no mankind dwelt, we went. The 12 tribes of Israel. That's who we be. Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, Naphtali from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Zebulun from Panama, Gad, the North American Indians, Simeon, the Dominicans. AHAYAH's gathering Israel. The Arabs and Africans told us
At gunpoint.
together our wives and children then sold us. In the belly of these great ships we traveled in fear. By the rivers of Babylon we found our brothers here. AHAYAH in Colombia, Reuben from Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans. AHAYAH's gathering Israel. Judah, the Negroes, Benjamin, the West Indians, Levi, the Haitians. AHAYAH's gathering Israel. In Colombia, Reuben from Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans. That's who we be. Judah, the Negroes, Benjamin, the West Indians, Levi, the Haitians, Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, Naphtali from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Zebulun from Panama, Gad, the North American Indians, Simeon, the Dominicans. AHAYAH's gathering Israel. The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out here anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited.